All right, welcome everybody to Good Morning Xbox. I'm your host, Axel1324.
And I'm Cool Cat Terry.
And I'm Dreadpool.
That's right. And welcome to the show, everybody. Guys, what a week for Xbox. We ended the show last week and all hell broke loose. Um, I guess it's great for content creators, as they say, but terrible for Xbox themselves. They had some massive leaks, but before we get into the leaks, let's get into the iconic chat. Up first is Web Dave. Shout out to Web Dave. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. And I like this one. Time to rise and shine. Doggy, somebody beat you to it, buddy. Doggy Dog comes in. He says, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Doggy Dog. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. A-Fan, a new subscriber, says, morning. Good morning, A-Fan. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Your Wicked Hot joins us. He says, good morning, everyone. Going to be a good show. Plus, there's football today, baby. That's right. That's right. Go Broncos. Let's see if we can pull it in, or else we're going to be the 0-3 Broncos. Come on, Broncos. I need you to at least tie the Steelers. Me and Doggy have a bet as to who's going to do better. And shout out to the original Next Level Gaming, Mike Mullis. He says, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mike. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. He says, one day, Dread's camera will work again.
One day.
Yeah. I think if you saw Dread today, he might be like zombied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zombie Dread.
That's right. And Chael Walker joins us. Good morning, Chael Walker. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. And he says, go Pack, go. At least you still own the Bears, I guess. That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The rivalry is huge, though, between the Bears and the Vikings. Huge.
Yeah.
Go Bears.
The Bears. And shout out to Happy Cloud Gamer. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. He says, good morning. Doggy Dog says, Axel's going to be wearing that Steelers black and gold. I don't think so, Doggy. I don't think so.
Nope.
I have
Blue and orange.
that the Steelers will have a full season breakdown here soon. So, yeah. Guys, so, yeah, Xbox had a lot of leaks. So, on Monday, I believe, is when this leaked. Was it Monday or Tuesday? I think it must have been Monday.
Sunday night, Monday.
Yeah, Monday. And because on Tuesday, everybody woke up to this fiasco. And I can guarantee probably someone at Xbox or at Microsoft got fired. There's no way you do this and not get fired. I'm sorry.
That's a corporate secret. That's corporate. Yeah, that's a guarantee.
You just cost the company the entire, like, you just shared out their entire strategy for until 2030. The competition can adjust now. They can come up with ways to counter you. You just gave yourself away on that. So I can pretty much guarantee that somebody got fired. Somebody somewhere. Maybe a lawyer. Who knows? Maybe they gave all this stuff to a lawyer and the lawyer didn't upload it right.
Then you sue them.
Yeah, then I would sue my lawyer for damages. Yeah.
Sue them.
Well, sue the lawyer.
Yeah, and don't forget, though, when it first popped up, everybody thought the FTC leaked it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole thing, because we didn't know at first what was going on. And for it to be something like that, we thought it was the FTC that did it. Because because right now the FTC has bad taste in gamers' mouth that anything bad like that would be a leak from the FTC in a way to combat Xbox and the ABK deal. So that's where everybody's thoughts were.
Yeah,
and
but turns out it was not the FTC.
Correct.
Yeah. So the way Happy Cloud Gamer goes. Says, question is, who had access to the documents? Well, the truth is, they had to file documents to the court case off of Judge Corley, or the order of Judge Corley, but they were supposed to do their own redactions as to what they didn't want public, and she said no Sharpies, right? I guess someone took the word no Sharpies, meaning no blackouts, and just uploaded straight up documents and thought that the court would review them before publishing, and that's not what happened. The court did not review anything; they just published. And bada bing, bada boom! The biggest leak in Xbox history, the biggest leak in gaming history happened, and we know now more about the internals of how far ahead these companies are planning than ever before. I mean, it is 2023, and they are planning to 2030. 7 years.
Oh.
7 years of playing. I mean,
That's nothing
I
new.
plan my life more than maybe 3-4 months in advance.
Oh,
But
goodness.
for these companies, that's nothing new. We already know that, and this has been established back in the 90s.
Especially a tech company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tech companies have to really, really, be proactive.
they have to forward think. This is why Xbox has always been. But back to my established in the 1990s. This has
Mhm.
been established in the 1990s with Nintendo. As soon as Nintendo releases their console, they already have 2 consoles in the works for their the 2 next generations for replacements. So
Mhm.
they already have ideas with what they want to go with the following generation and the generation after that. And everything is very, very loosely based because we don't know where the technology is going to go. So they're trying to think so far in advance, and then obviously they make adjustments. And this is what happened with Xbox. They did the same thing with the Kinect. The Kinect was so key on the 360 that they pushed it into being part of a necessity because it was so beloved that they created it into a hated machine for a
Yeah.
lot of people.
I don't understand why I love the Connect. I miss.
I miss it. I
bet,
love
I'm
it.
sure somebody went over there. It's like Xbox, upload that, and Xbox like okay,
Yeah. But that's the thing though, is technology evolves so fast, and Xbox multiple times has been ahead of the curve. TV, Connect. What else do we have? That they did that was so far. Snap with PNP.
Oh,
That was
God, I
not
miss
ahead
Snap
of
so
its
much.
time for video games because TVs were already doing it, but it's becoming a thing again. So why why can't we just keep some of the stuff that we want? And I understand they're looking at their numbers. Their numbers don't justify holding on to this because I enjoyed having my TiVo hooked up to my Xbox
Mhm.
and be able to control both via the Xbox. I enjoyed that, but now I don't use my TiVo anymore.
I miss TiVo too. I loved it so much.
You know,
Yeah, TiVo, but
TiVo went downhill too.
TiVo was great before DVR was a thing. The cable box DVRs were a thing, and now
Yeah.
DVR has gone away in favor of on demand. So yeah, I mean, things change over time, right? But
But
what doesn't change over time? The support you get on this channel. Shout out to HTK360. He says, "Howdy, howdy, iconic video games. Howdy to Cool Cat Terry, and howdy to Dreadpool." There you go. Shout out
howdy.
to Peter. Thank you so much for joining us, Peter. You are the real MVP. And Eternal Shaddai says, "Good morning, chat. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Eternal Shaddai. You are the real MVP." Cool Cat Terry comes in saying, "Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Be sure to give the show a like if you're enjoying the convo. Yes, please do. It helps us get discovered in the gaming section where we advertise. Well, where the topic goes, I guess. So yeah, be sure to give us a thumbs up. It really helps us get discovered. Yeah. So let's talk about the 2030 plan. So this is from the leaks, and I'm sorry I couldn't get a more clear photo. I was downloading this on my phone. And this is about as good as it gets for me, guys. But it says gaming devices path to 2030. Console business is the foundation. Consoles are considered a key health meter for the brand and will continue to drive majority of revenue and subscribers. That's very, very important because as we know, Xbox is now more than consoles, right? And so the fact that everybody's like, oh, Xbox won't have a console anymore. Xbox won't have a console anymore. Well, yeah, they will apparently because in 2030, well past the launch date of the next Xbox, they're still saying that console is the key. Not only is the key, but it is the key metric of the health of the brand. So as long as people are buying consoles, the brand is healthy. Is I guess the way they're saying it. That's what I take out of it. Terry, what do you take out of this first statement, if you take anything at all?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm still, excuse me. I'm still on the idea that eventually, consoles are going to become obsolete. But we're not there yet. So, as long as they're still selling well, keep pushing them. But we're going to hit that point where they're going to go obsolete and they're gonna just put everything on the cloud and wherever else. Just boot up your, go to the Xbox app on your TV or whatever, and you'll play from there. But yeah, push them. People like their consoles, so you keep pushing them.
Yeah, I think consoles are still the most important. Dripple, you're old like me. Can you see yourself being consoleless?
Well, I did that with the Stadia. So
what did that get you? What did that get you? An
you got
orange
me a
and white controller that you can't use for anything.
No, I can. Just got to update the controller, and I can use it for anything I want now. They released a firmware update for that. But reality, let's look back here at Xbox.
Right.
A consoleless controller would make sense, especially with the way Stadia did it, because you just hooked up to Wi-Fi, hooked up, whatever console or whatever you were on. If you were on a TV, if you're at your computer, you would just load up, and then you would hit the sync buttons, and that's how it would know. You hit a certain key of buttons, and that's how it would integrate your controller to the stream. And it made sense, and that's one way to reduce latency, so that way you're not going through the console and then the console up. So in the frame of a consoleless controller, that's going to be one of the best ways that I can see that they've implemented something that made sense, as opposed to the other BS lies that Stadia has given us and not succeeded with.
Right.
But on the Xbox side, yes, consoles are key to health when it comes to metrics of the industry for your company. But at the same time, it's no longer that. They've already said it years ago that they don't measure that anymore. They measure active users. Sony has done the same thing. But so when you look at it, all of these companies are starting to shift over from the key number. The key number is just, it's a fact. All right. And it's an inflated fact too, if you think about it. I have in my house 2 Series X's. Is that a key on how many people bought a Series X in this house? Or is that, 3 users that use 2 Series X's a bigger metric? Because we have 3 users here. All right. So when you look at it that way, which is a bigger number that you can use? I'm going to use the bigger metric. On top of that, what if it's one person in the house, right? But you have multiple consoles. You're still only selling to one person. So that game that you're going to use as a metric to say, hey, look, this household has 3 Xboxes, but it's only got 1 user. So yeah, in those terms, you bought last year's model, you bought this year's model. Let's go back to the one. I've got the OG one. I've got this. I could have had the the 1S when I decided to hold off. But let's say I bought the 1S, and then I got the series. The 1X. Right. So now I got those metrics. Well, that's great. So that's all the Xbox One games. But now we got the Series S that plays Xbox One games. So that's 5 consoles in my household right now.
Right.
That can play the play the 1X games or excuse me, play the 1 games. So
Right.
when you look at that number, that's 5 consoles. That's a huge metric. But it's only me as one person. But now on the flip side, like I said before, I've got 2 Series X's and I've got 3 users. That number is a bigger metric than the other number. So when you look at it, it's going to be like that. So if you have a controller that's going to act, let's call the controller your access to the console. That's going to be your physical console without actually being a console.
Yes.
That could be a number 2. So depending on how, and this is why I always say when you look at Excel files, these pie charts and all that, these things can be manipulated. It depends on what you add and what you subtract and how you view these numbers and how you view them compared to other things. So this whole thing can be manipulated in any way you want, right? So PlayStation still calls out how many consoles they have out there sold to use for their advantage, so PlayStation does that. We know Cliff Bleszinski said he went to the bigger user base because of the console sales.
Yeah.
And he found out that did not help him because he should have went to the bigger user base that played his style of game that he was making. He made that in an interview. He pointed that out. He screwed up, and it was just one of those things. It's the numbers that you look at and what's presented to you. He screwed up. It is what it is, lesson learned. So now when you do this, which way are you going? Okay, so having no console, it's going to upset so many people because they have to have that physical thing, that thing that is the connection that holds everything. And we already know we have people right now that have to physically hold discs. So
guilty.
Exactly. I was the same way until I traveled without my discs and realized, holy cow, everything's here. And if you do the same thing without the console, you're going to be in the same boat if you just bring a smaller device, and I think before we even get to that point, we're going to have for lack of better words right now, but because of what you'll talk about later on, I have always called it a hybrid in the first place. It'll be something localized, but yet use stuff in the cloud ahead of time. So that way you have something physical here to do your physical processing, because there will not be enough speed in the infrastructure to go out there. So your controller could be that device if they got to that point. I was always thinking of like a Roku box or a Fire Stick, something like that. And that's similar to what Stadia was doing, but they weren't, if you see what I'm saying.
Right.
They weren't really, they were really keeping it as streaming. But I was thinking more of a Roku box because there would be more of a Raspberry Pi inside that could do a little bit more and keep your localization there. So when it comes to, what is the health right now?
Yep, the health of the brand.
Consoles are the number one source of numbers publicly. When it comes to the real metrics, I don't think consoles are it. I think publicly, because we are so locked in with what we call the console, right? They renamed their console. Excuse me. They renamed Xbox as all of Xbox, right? There's no more Xbox Live. It's now, it went to Xbox Network or something like that, and then it changed over to just Xbox Cloud, and they're getting rid of that to Xbox. They're trying to minimize, even though they're trying to hey, this, and that, they're trying to minimize it. When they say Xbox, it's going to be Xbox. No matter what device you play it on, how you play it, it's always going to be Xbox. Because you know what happened to the 360? Everything's locked down to the 360. All the contracts are made for 360, which is why they had to go back and redo some of those things to be able to be playable as backwards compatible. So there's so many different aspects on this. But again, console sales are a number that we look at, not what they truly look at.
Right. Let's check in with the chat before it escapes me here. Great point, Stridpool.
Sorry for all that history.
BMG comes in. Thank you so much for joining us, BMG. You are the real MVP. He says, good afternoon from the UK. Hey, we're going international, everybody. Thank you so much. Jacob Novik says, hi. Thank you so much for joining us, Jacob Novik. We appreciate you. You are the real MVP. Happy Cloud Gamer says, I don't think hardware is where we are going. Simpleness always wins. So I think cloud gaming is going to take over. Yeah. Eventually, I think so, but it'll be years. It might be decades still away. Crazy Greek Dude says, yo, shout out to Crazy Greek Dude. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Eternal Shaddai says, Somebody's microwave is on. I heard the beep. Who's warming up a hot pocket? I'm warming up coffee. So yeah.
Well, Death Dealer explains it.
Yes. Oh, Death Dealer says it was the oven, and I'm making pizza rolls for everyone. Woo! Pizza rolls for everybody. So if you hear Dreadpool start talking like, you know, it's a pizza roll.
Pizza
Red
roll and
Monkey
coffee.
Butt says, "Good morning, mother truckers. Good morning, Red Monkey Butt. Thank you so much for joining us." Yeah. And with the iPhone being able to do AAA with ray tracing now, I mean, mobile gaming has been kind of impressive. If you haven't played it, the iPhone's not the first one to do it. Everybody just makes a big deal because iPhone's doing it, but you know, Samsung did it 3 years ago, 5 years ago at this point.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I understand that iPhone's the big deal because you know, with iPhone they know how to market it, but yeah, it's impressive. So yeah, the console is getting smaller. Imagine buying whatever phone you have and it's marketed with an Xbox logo or something akin to that, right? An Xbox logo or a PlayStation logo or a Nintendo logo. It could be the future. It could be, guys.
Yeah, you see, and that's the funny thing is iPhone, Apple and iPhone said, Apple said that iPhone is the next best console for gaming. So think about that.
Yeah.
Your phone is being considered as a console for gaming.
I'll have to counter that point because I play on my phone. I play cloud on my phone often. And when I get stuck and I need to, I don't know, look up a guide because I just don't have the free time to figure it out like I did when I was young. It's actually quite annoying that I have to shut my game off, look it up, and turn it back on. That is the one
See,
thing
that's
that
where you
annoys me
screwed
the
up.
most on it.
You're supposed to keep it on your phone, go sit down in front of your computer, and then look it up.
Yeah, then I'll just play on my computer, man. Yeah. Let's see. Fastback joins us. He says, "Good morning, Xbox. Good morning, Fastback. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP." Let's see who else we got going on here. Again, just trying to catch up with all the chat. Fastback says, "iPhones can't fold." Oh, that's right. Get yourself that Samsung Galaxy Fold or that Pixel Fold.
No, but when they do, they will tell you it's
Oppo Fold and the
Z.
the Huawei Fold.
I don't know. I just know that Samsung's got two different variations of folds.
Yeah.
But when Apple says, "Hey, we got the newest fold here. It's the best fold because it's the first time a phone has been able to be folded." And people will buy that up like, "Oh, this is the first time a phone's been folded? No way." Shocker.
Yeah.
Other people have done it first again.
Don't forget, guys, iPhone invented the USB-C charger.
Yes, they did. Not.
So yeah. Anyways, let's keep reading these. New endpoints are the path to 100 million members. Oh, sorry. Before we move on to the next point, Terry, we asked the chat how they felt about consoleless futures.
Okay. Are you looking forward to a console-less gaming future? 50% said no, I need my console. 33% said yes, cloud's the future, and 16% are undecided.
Oh.
Yeah, those no people are the get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Don't hate me.
Let's see. New endpoints are the path to 100 million members. Unlocking new off-console endpoints and improving the experience will substantially grow subscribers over the next 8 years. This is those cloud. Maybe somebody has Xbox Game Pass Ultimate without the console. Xbox PC. I think if they come up with an Xbox Cloud only tier, I think it will take off. But let's move it on. Let's see. Controller becomes the hero. The new Xbox controller is the only thing you need to play on every device. This low barrier entry will fuel subscriber growth, and we'll talk about that in a little while to talk about how they're actually changing it to work on every device.
Makes sense since Xbox pushes controllers like no other.
Yeah, I love my Xbox. Look, I only buy buy fancy controllers. I don't buy like replacement white. Like I bought this controller to have an extra one. and kind of regret it.
That should be your travel one, so that way if you lose it, you won't be crying about it.
Well, like, because every other controller I have is like a collector's edition controller, or like I have the Master Chief Elite controller. I have the Sea of Thieves controllers. I like buying these special edition controllers that are not just black or white. And yeah, I typically only have one regular controller that came with the console, and everything else is like a fancy controller, as I'm going to call them. I'm a controller aficionado. I don't have all of them. I'm not going to buy them all. Screw that. I'm not trying to collect them like Pokemon, but I buy the ones that interest me.
We do the same thing. We selectively pick which ones we want. But yeah, we the ones that come with the consoles are usually the first ones we use, and as they get replaced, those are the ones we hand off to the friends to use.
That's right. True story. You get the guest controller, the one with that bubble gum stuck on it.
Yeah.
The one with the pizza pockets grease.
The one that has drift stick, that's the one you get.
That's right. That right bumper, you really gotta push it down, my guy. Let's see. Personalization and customization. Personalization and customization continue as hardware strategic advantage and a key profit driver and customer delight. That Xbox Design Labs, the wraps, the controllers that we were just talking about, all that stuff. And sustainability and accessibility, continued progress towards reduction of carbon tax impact, re-energizing our journey of inclusion. If you care about that stuff in electronics, even though so much waste comes from electronics, it's insane. But let's get straight into hardware first. Let's see. Yeah, so of course, Happy Cloud Gamer is very bullish on cloud. He says, I love physical games, but I need to be realistic and see what makes more sense. So cloud computing is extremely good now. So 5 years from now, we'll get even better. Yeah. I've been there since day one of the cloud games. And I'm not talking like day one Xbox Game Cloud. I'm talking like day one of On Live before PlayStation bought them. And cloud gaming is just getting amazing. Yeah. And Fastback says he just got the Starfield headset and will probably get the controller too. Get it, boy. Get it.
Get it while you can.
Yeah. I want to get the Starfield wrap. As Coltis would calls it, the diaper. I want to get the diaper for my Xbox.
Yeah. I hear that.
It looks good. I want it. I
hear the Starfield wrap, and the first thing I think of, this is how I age myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think of the Bears in the Super Bowl shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the rap that I hear in my head.
The rap? Bears rap?
Yeah.
I must be too young for this.
Yes,
Sometimes Dripple tells a joke and I just don't
from the 85 Bears. The only Bears that mattered.
The 85 Bears did a rap.
85 Bears.
It's called the Super Bowl Shuffle. Look it up.
Bears fans have to hold on to that nostalgia because they got nothing else.
Oh, cha! All right, so let's get into hardware first and foremost, right? I know I've listed the games, but we're talking hardware, so we're just gonna go hardware first. And Chad Walker says, I ordered the diaper. That dealer wants a divorce.
It's because that rap is older than she is.
Oh. And I've got Starfield rap pre-ordered. Yeah, that rap is barely younger than me. Barely. Could be a sibling. But let's get to the hardware leaks first and foremost. We have Project Brooklyn. Now, Project Brooklyn here, if I can get my timetable, here it is. If I can get my timetable going. Brooklyn here, right here, Brooklyn 2 terabyte launch, $499, is scheduled for fiscal year 2025, October. So that is quite some time from now. Whoops, wrong button. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, and so it's not coming out till Project 2025. Elwood, which I'm going to guess is the 1 terabyte Black Series S, has just launched in 2023. So this fiscal year 24, fiscal year 25. And again, their fiscal years are different than ours. We're still a ways away. So they launched that S early there. So yeah, that's what they did. So let's see, where was I? Oh yeah, so Project Brooklyn is the most powerful Xbox now, adorably all digital. Aww, Terry, it's adorable.
It's adorable.
Look how cute. Look how cute the Xbox is. Oh my god, it's so cute. I'm gonna cry.
It looks just like the Series X, only with rounded edges. You know, they just rounded it off. Is all.
That's right. So your Xbox Echo,
Yep.
Amazon Echo, is coming. So let's see. Brooklyn will deliver 4K Gen 9 console gaming with more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power, and more immersive controller, and a beautiful redesign that elevates all digital experience of the Xbox ecosystem, giving our fans more to love. Beautiful and innovative new design, more internal storage for games, 2 terabytes, finally. USB-C front port with power delivery, so you can charge something there. An all-new, more immersive controller, which we'll see, and a same great price at $499. Updated technologies is going to be all-new Southbridge to modernize I/O and sustainability issues. So just a controller, an internal controller, Wi-Fi 6E, radio. So for those people that were like, oh, PlayStation has better, it's Wi-Fi 6E instead of Wi-Fi 5. There you go.
It should have been Wi-Fi 7.
Bluetooth 5.2 and 6 nanometer die shrink for improved efficiency. So 6 nanometer. Yeah, that's gonna probably why it's so much smaller and adorable. Let's see. Reduce power consumption by 15%. New low power standby mode, which is 20% of current Xbox Series S standby mode for an X power. Increased use of PCR on housing more than 30%. So this is polycarbonate resin. I think that's what PCR stands for, polycarbonate. It's a plastic. And 100% recyclable packaging, which is cardboard, which we all know it should be recyclable anyway. So yeah. So there you go. The adorable Brooklyn coming to a store shelf near you. Terry, are you gonna buy the Brooklyn?
No.
What do you like or what do you hate about the Brooklyn?
Okay, well, first off, I've said this many times. I don't upgrade my consoles. I stick with the one I got until the next generation. The only time I upgrade is if something happens and I have to replace mine if it gets broken. Like my cat breaks it, And then of course, then I have to go get a new one. Otherwise, I never upgrade. I don't believe in refreshing. It's not worth it to me. But I don't know. I don't like it because we've mentioned this before. There's no reason to have an all digital X because that negates the purpose of the S.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well just get rid of the S if you're going to have, and just do an X, with the drive and an X digital and be done with it. Then why even have an S if you know what I mean? The big selling point of the S was it's small and it was digital and it was cheaper. So I don't know. I just don't see a reason to have an all digital X. Because I mean, if you really wanted the power of the X, you would have bought the X. So now to upgrade that X to a digital X, I mean, yeah, you're getting some things updated, but then you're losing. If you're someone that mostly has a physical collection, this is worthless to you because you can't play your collection. So I don't like it. But I mean, if you're someone who hasn't got into the ecosystem yet, maybe you're all PC or on a different platform for console, then this, if this could be a good way to get in because you're not going to have any physical, collection to worry about. So just to be all digital. So I mean, it has its purpose, but at the same time, I feel like there's not going to be that many people really like jumping to get it. I don't know. That's me. I have no interest in it.
No interest from Terry. I just noticed my camera was still off. Sorry about that, guys. So shout out to Scott Free. He joins us. Thank you so much for joining us, Scott Free. You are the real MVP. We appreciate you. He says, no disk drive, no thanks.
I don't.
And then, Splendiferous also joins us. He says, good morning, Splendiferous. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Let's see. Jacob Novik says, well, I'm lucky at Axel. I'm 20 years old by 2028. Oh, 2020 baby. I'm a millennial baby. Thank you so much, Jacob Novik. That's awesome.
I feel like they're kind of putting too much into the aesthetic. Like they're going on about how beautiful it is and how innovative it is. How is that innovative? You literally took what you had and you rounded the corner off. Like, how is that innovative? I don't know. And I mean, adorable. I mean, I wouldn't call it adorable. It looks like the Series X. You just literally just rounded off the edges and you're trying to act like it's more than what it is. I don't know. And you moved the Xbox button down bottom center instead of on the top corner, because you no longer have a corner, so you had to move it. Yeah. But
this is a vertical only Xbox right here. Otherwise, it's going to roll off your shelf.
What's the size comparison? You know, like that's the thing, is they want us to think that this is smaller, and it may be smaller, but we don't know how much smaller because they're not comparing it on this image for their plan.
If you look at the USB-C and the button, and then you got the Xbox button itself, you look at the size comparison and you compare that to a USB-C and the button, it's relatively about the same size, maybe a hair smaller.
So it's not even that much smaller for, so they can't really market it as,
Probably, yeah, I'm looking at it. It's probably a couple inches smaller. If you just look at the USB-C, it's probably a couple, like an inch or two smaller.
All right, sorry about that, guys. Let me go back. Whoop, where did it go? There it is. All right, hold on. I am just trying something here. Here, there it is. Okay. So here it is. Okay. Let me see if I can. No, I can't. The picture's too big. All right, so we're going to increase this until the X is about the same size. About right there.
Yeah, that looks good.
So
that makes it look bigger than the X. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. So it is bigger.
No, that's why I think the Jewel is actually smaller. Because if you look at the Jewel compared to the USB-C, the USB-C is smaller.
I feel like it's probably the same size.
Bigger.
Yeah,
I think
they're
reusing. They're going about recyclable
right
packaging. I feel like they're just recycling the whatever was left over of the X, and they're just remolding it.
You're also looking at it head on versus at a slight angle.
The curve of it is going to throw off our perspective as well.
Yeah, I think somebody really does need to extrapolate that USB-C, but this is Good Morning Xbox clown extrapolation right here. Let's check in with the chat real quick. Fastback says, I will get Brooklyn and put the X in the living room and the S in the daughter's room. There you go. Everybody has their reason. Scott Free said, no, thank you. Let's see. HTK says, bad for back compat. Yeah. How dare you use logic, Terry? I need you to use emotions. I need emotional Terry.
When it comes to buying stuff, I'm always logical. Like I'm not impulsive. Like almost everybody I know who's a gamer, no offense to anybody, but almost everybody I know who's a gamer tends to be impulsive. That's not me.
Yeah. 99% of my buys are impulse buys.
I fit that bill.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta agree with that statement. I fall into that. They will sell a Blu-ray player as an add-on if it's this gen. Probably, but I don't know, maybe.
Wait, people still buy Blu-rays?
Let's see. Have your cats destroyed your Series X yet, Terry?
They have not. Every now and then, Biscuit here sits on top of it, and I get furious. But otherwise,
they're waiting for the release of Brooklyn. So
they're gonna
just wait till they can roll that. Once they find out Brooklyn rolls, it's over.
Cats are gonna make your decision for you.
That's right. I love old games to play on disc, so I don't like digital only. Yeah, me too. I don't care for the cylinder look. Yeah. I hope it works like Alexa, hey, Xbox, set timer for 15 minutes. Let's see. Happy Cloud Gamer says, I might be 50 years old by next gen. Thankfully, I won't be there quite yet, but yeah. Doggy Dog says something we'll talk about. Later, he says, people out here yelling Xbox is doomed. Quit by 2027. Yeah, with how much money they're investing, I doubt it. Let's see. Jacob Novik said, the fridge evolved to Amazon Echo, but Pokemons usually have 3 evolutions. So what's the third one?
Yo, what if the recyclable stuff is the old like boxes and stuff that they made for the fridge that didn't sell?
Mm-hmm.
They just use that.
At least it won't be recycled Labo.
Oh. Crazy Greek Dude makes a really good point here. The USB-C is powered, so you won't need a separate power supply for the drive. Just one cable.
That makes
That's
sense.
a good point.
Way,
That's a good
yeah,
point.
with the way Phil wants certain things to be very user friendly and idiot proof.
I would like them to make it to where it actually would charge your phone, because right now, like, I can plug.
Oh, it could.
Because right now I have my USB-C in my Series X, and when I plug my phone in, it like doesn't really charge. Like, it's like the slowest charge in existence. Like, I feel like the battery's draining faster than it's charging. It doesn't really charge my phone. So like, if they could make that better, that would be a good feature. I'm not worth me buying a console
USB-C
over,
is
but
like a Thunderbolt USB-C.
but it needs to do something, because the Series X will not charge my phone.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I want them to clarify what version of USB-C they're using.
I'm sure they will in the future. This is just a leak again.
Yeah. Well, this
great
is
information from the leak. Dreadpool, isn't this adorable for you?
Adorable.
Let me pucker up the face and be like, "Oh, it's so adorable." No.
Where's Death Dealer so she can say adorable in the most adorable voice?
So overall, I like it. I could care less about the design. It doesn't matter to me if it's circular, boxy, or whatever. As long as it's powerful and able to pull out the heat to keep it sustainable, because we already know what happened with the original launch 360s. They were not able to deal with the heat, which is why the solder joints were having issues, and we got red ring of death. So as long as the heat exhaustion works very well, and it looks like it's cylindrical, it's just a design thing. It doesn't really mean anything, but you could probably do some cool tricks, like get your old CDs and just hover them over the vents and let them float.
The thing is, this one forces you, unless they have it flat on the one side, this one forces you to have it standing up. You don't have that option. Some people like having their Series X laying, horizontal. So this one, you would be forced to go vertical.
Right. But again, I have mine standing up.
Me too.
All my consoles have been laying down, even though we can put our one consoles up vertically, even though mine came with a stand for the 1X, because I got the Scorpio edition and it came with it. I guess some of the other ones did not. I don't know, because I didn't buy them all. I could have if Death Dealer would have let me, but you know how that goes. Got to keep a happy wife, so I stay alive. But all my Series X's, both of them are standing up vertically, because again, the biggest way to expel that heat rises and let it all.
Mine's vertical as well, but there are people out there that have theirs laying down.
And I get it, because of the placement inside
liquid metal. What if it has liquid metal, Dread? Are you going to lay it down?
I think they do it for the drive. It's easier to put the disc in.
They will not do
laying down.
Yeah. Plus, it's easier for that but again, it's just as easy when you have it standing up. So, again, I think it's more your console placement and how you like it, because you're so people are used to it. Yeah. So, but which is why I didn't, because I say I'm still alive. But yeah, I think for the most part, it's just for me, I want the best efficiency for the console, so that way I don't have any issues with Red Ring of Death. It's not going to be like that anymore, but it's just one of those things. We do that with the PCs we build. We try to expel heat the most effective way possible. So you design the fans a certain way to bring in as much cold air as we can and expel that heat as fast as we can directly outside. So you try to do your pressures. You want positive pressure versus negative pressure equals equalization pressure. It all depends on what your setup is, but usually you want more positive pressure than negative pressure. So either equalize or positive. Now, same thing here. It's just one fan. You got to rely on that thing to do everything. So I'm cool with that. Again, this could be just an early design, something to separate it apart. Nothing really, and this is just for looks. DE, we do have water cooling. It's called the vapor chamber, and we've had it since the 1X days. So we do have water cooling, in a sense.
I think he means like the water radiators.
Yeah, I know. He's talking about the radiators.
Yeah, but the
like
vapor
the
chambers,
AOEs.
that's just regular chip design nowadays. These days,
But
right?
yeah, but PlayStation's not doing it, which is why they went to liquid metal. Which is
T1000
why, again,
liquid metal Terminator, you know.
right, which is why I don't think Xbox will ever go back to it. Plus, the rumors are that PlayStation will be going away from the liquid metal with their redesigns because of all the issues that they've been having. It was a great idea. And obviously, everybody else learns from everybody else's mistakes. TV. But again, with the technologies, I'm all about upgrading. And I don't. This is more of the mid-gen refresh, like the 360 was with the 360 Slim. Not last year's. Last year's refresh is not a refresh. It was just it was the first time that they've ever done a pro model for both consoles for that generation.
And they claim they weren't doing that, right? With this
they said that they are not doing it.
They're gonna do like
which is a smart choice in my opinion. Could you imagine having to code for 3 SKUs on Xbox side? Heck, no, as a developer, I would by default not code for Xbox.
But the thing is, think of the variations on PC. Think of that. There's so many variations on PC.
But PCs, like, you don't have to optimize as much as you do in consoles, because once somebody gets on PC, if you wanted to, you could just put it out there, and it's like, okay, this requires an i9 Extreme and RTX 4090 Founders Edition, blah blah blah, because brute force. Right, you can brute force. You can do brute force on PC. You can't do that on consoles.
But I could play certain games with a graphics card that only has 6 megabytes on it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That, like, some people will optimize, some people won't, and you can't optimize for everything.
No, you can't.
And what you don't optimize for on PC, it can usually brute force it.
You still have minimums, and PCs also have sliders, so you can scroll things down and up.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing
off, blah 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 blah.
Right, that's the other thing that a lot of people have been asking for these consoles, is to be able to have those sliders, which we do have. Certain games give us sliders for what the heck's it called, for graphics. So if you want,
but they don't let you turn off like shadows.
No,
like on PC you can literally turn off shadows.
Well, you have performance mode, regular, in visual mode. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but PC is just so customizable. It's in a whole new game of its own.
But that's why PC is customizable. This is what I'm saying. If we do the same thing here, Xbox is basically an x86 platform, which is PC. Same thing with PlayStation. So, and I understand there's certain tools that optimize these things more for console than PC. I get that. I understand that. But that's what I'm getting at, is they are within the same family now. Before they were not. You're talking about a 360, which was a power PC, which was basically Apple format, not x86. And ever since then, they both went to x86 because they realized that the cell technology was too hard to program for. But guess what? Everybody forced their way to learn how to program for cell. Everybody forced their way to learn how to program for power PC, and 360 did very, very well. And you look at those games that came out for it, were very well done. So again, there's so many different aspects on all of this that I don't, why are they holding back on certain things? And I understand there's so many different variables on both sides of PC and console, that certain things are not what they're supposed to be. But I'm happy that this is not an upgrade; it's a refresh. You know, so yes, I know some people say it's an upgrade because of this, but this is more of a true refresh because it's the exact same console. It just has some better add-ons that improve certain things. Like we got the Wi-Fi 6E, which hopefully by the time they release it, it'll be Wi-Fi 7 because it's all backwards compatible. So if you have a Wi-Fi 6 or a Wi-Fi 6E router, it'll work. If you have a Wi-Fi 7, it'll be that much better. Same thing with Bluetooth 5.2. So much better, so much faster. The latency is
More
a
reliable.
lot less reliable.
More distance. Yeah.
So there's still so much stuff going on. And the die shrink, it's the same thing, right? We went from the Xbox One to an Xbox One S. It was 5% faster because they didn't make the same products anymore, so they had to come up with a new die for the CPU to keep it comparable. You know, again, more efficient, more stable. It had a little bit more power, not noticeable enough to do anything, but they literally restricted it as much as they could to get it as close as possible to the original, but better off. So yeah, I'm cool with all of this. Now, if I can get it, I'll have to sneak it past the door somehow. I'll have to design a box so Death Dealer doesn't realize that it's not the same thing.
It's groceries. That's hilarious. Let's check in with the chat real quick. Happy Cloud Gamer didn't care about designs when he was young, but now he does when he's older. Yeah. I really don't care about the designs. Xbox has always looked slick to me. I like the Xbox designs a lot more than I like the weird other designs. You know, it looks like it belongs there. It looks like an electronic appliance, right? That belongs where your entertainment system is. The other one is like the Switch. It's like, oh, you got to have enough room for the slot on the top if you want to dock it. The PlayStation, oh, you got to have enough room somewhere because it's taller than your TV. You know, I mean, that thing is massive. I will never get over how massive that PS5 is. So yeah. That's what I think. Jacob Novik says, I remember when Xbox announced the ABK acquisition, I was watching on my phone and listening to We Don't Talk About Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. Oh, no. Yeah. And got a stream, not notification. Microsoft acquires, my heart stopped. Yes. Yeah. Same. I wasn't watching on my TV. I was at work and I was in a meeting and my phone just started blowing up on notifications. I had to shut it off. It wasn't after I was done with the meeting that I got to see. Yes. Let's see. Dreadpool, I agree. The CPU, GPU, and RAM doesn't change that much to be an upgrade. Yeah, I agreed. Let's see. What happened to the chip shortage this gen? I wouldn't put it past companies planning not to be in that situation ever again. Yeah, I mean, the world chip, the US is going to start manufacturing a bunch of chips here, but it's only going to be like 6% of our requirement. So it's still not going to be great. Let's see. Jacob Novik says, Phil Spencer, do not repeat the X name. 700 people bought the 1X by mistake when the pre-orders for the Series X went up. Read the fine print, my guys. Read the fine print. Let's see. Yeah, I agree here. I like the PS4 design way better. The Pro, yeah. Let's see. DE says they dropped the ball with the PS5 plates. They could have had the TV on the side of the PS5. That's right, an all-in-one. They could have made that bad boy an all-in-one.
Hey, I've always said
big.
I've always said flip it to the side and get a projector and just project onto it.
Yeah, you know, if you get a projector, it's massive. That thing is massive. Yeah, that it's just crazy. So for me, I will not be getting Brooklyn. I need my disk drive. Not because this thing could have been all like, oh, it plays in 8K with no disk drive, and I still wouldn't buy it because I need that disk drive because I do have a lot of physical older games. I love the back compat program on my Xbox. Like if I'm playing a back catalog game and I can play it on my Series X instead of playing it on the OG Xbox or on the Xbox 360 or on the Xbox One, I will play it on the series. So that disk drive to me is so essential. But I am jealous of the small internal storage for 2 terabytes. That right there is the biggest the biggest thing for me. These games, these systems need to come with like a petabyte for some of us, Dreadpool. So yeah, I think the biggest storage really needs to come through. And if this came out with a disk drive, I would. But again, there's no change to the chipset. There's no change to anything. It's not gonna improve my gaming all that much, I don't think. So I am not gonna get this one just because, even though it's super adorable, I need mine to be more slotted for disk drives.
This one is literally just their energy saving edition. That's it. They need to put that sticker on there. Like, using this console is going to save you X amount of dollars per year on your energy bill. That's all this is.
The Energy Star rating or whatever.
Yeah, that's all this is their energy, saving.
Energy Star, baby.
Yeah, that's all that is.
Oh man,
what I want them to come back
at it today, Dreadful.
You know what I want them to come back with though?
What's that?
For those that want to. I know you guys will like your hard disks and everything, and I've got mine too. And there's one disk that I'll never turn in because it won't work any other way. I want them to accept the digital or the actual disk and give you a digital code. Take the disk back from me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do like a trade.
Well, they wanted to do that, but everybody was against it. Everybody was all like, "You can't share games."
Yeah, but the thing was, they said that they were doing it. I went to the Microsoft store, and the Microsoft store didn't even know what I was talking about.
Yeah,
because I've got discs that I want to do that with. Because I'm like, I own these discs, and I can't buy them digitally. So why not just give me the digital format of it? Take my disc away, and give me the digital format, and then it'll go wherever I go. Because
you mean kind of like the
trade-in?
What was it? The Blu-ray, DVD, digital codes were for movies.
No, they had a program where you would hand over your disc, and they would give you a digital code for it.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Okay, now I remember. Yes, they did talk about that back in the One days.
Yeah,
the early One days. I'm talking the Xbox One Fat.
And I went to the store to do the trade-in, and they didn't even know what I was talking about.
That would be epic. That would be epic. But
but certain games like my King Kong game for the 360 is only BC on a disc. It is not digital BC. So if you have it digitally, it's not backwards compatible. So stuff like that, got to pay attention to, but people won't know. And, you're
going to have to substitute that King Kong for Diddy Kong.
Something. Well, that's another rumor.
Yeah. Let's go over here. General Spartan says, shout out to General Spartan for joining us. You are the real MVP. I need a disc drive because I have a physical copy of the original Ninja Gaiden 2 from 2008. Yeah, I love that game. Even though the Subway Snake boss is a pin in my rear. And Black Cardi joins us. Thank you so much for joining us, Black Cardi. You are the real MVP. He says, what's up, guys? What's up, Black Cardi? All right, let's go ahead and end the poll right there. Terry, how do people feel about this adorable Xbox?
Okay, are you going to buy the... Oh, you spelled it wrong. The adorable... You put Brooklyn.
Oh, my God.
You added a G. All right. Is that good? That's just a code name, right? I think
that's a code name.
Okay. 57% no, there's no disk drive. 35% yes, because it's adorable. And 7% maybe.
They're going to call this thing the Xbox Series XD.
XD.
Yeah, XDE, Xbox Digital Edition. That's what they're going to call it, right? All right, let's move on.
I'm still banking on XL.
Let's see. Moving on to Project Sebille or Sebille. I think it's Sebille, right? Yeah, Project Sebille. I'm gonna say Sebille because I like that way. That sounds better. Is the world's best controller now playing on a screen near you? First off, if they do this two-color design, I hate it. I hate this. But again, this could just all be mock-ups, not final product or anything, right? But let's get to Project Sebille. Now, this I am buying. I'm just letting you guys know. But let's look into it. Ubiquity. Play anywhere. Xbox Wireless 2. Direct to cloud, much like your Stadia controller.
Yep.
And Bluetooth 5.2 for the new adorable Brooklyn. Seamless pair switch. New mobile app features. See paired devices in cloud. That would be so helpful if I'm being honest. Manage devices and accessories. Again, so helpful for me. Just the other day, I had to reset all the syncs on a controller, and I had to YouTube how to do it. Because depending on the version of controller you have, you desync it. Very different. And unplugging the batteries doesn't work. Let's see. Sustainability. Do good, feel good. Rechargeable and swappable battery. Finally, recycled materials and less resin. Repair and disassembly for those Xbox parts they're selling now. Durable and reliable. We'll see. RB we'll find. We'll see if RB holds up. New modular thumbsticks. Improved longevity. Continued build improvements. Again, nothing about that right button.
Well, let's see. Modular thumbsticks.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody remember the term Hall effect sensor?
No.
No?
No. What? Say that one more time.
A Hall effect sensor?
Hall effect sensor.
Yeah. HAL, all in caps, effect sensor. It was a big thing, probably good, almost 10 years ago, with the FPV world, because they were changing them from what we use now to magnets, and that is what they were using on the Dreamcast controller. That's a Hall effect sensor. It's all magnets, so there's no stick drift. You would have to literally mess with the magnetization for the by inducing a lot of electromagnetic currents near it to affect something like that. But yeah, Nintendo is actually developing.
Yeah, it detects the position based on magnetic field. I just read up on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not. You cannot wear it down. If you think about it, you cannot wear it down whatsoever. Again, if you go through a high electromagnetic field, you can affect the magnets at that point in time. So it's not foolproof, but
so if you take it on the airport, you're screwed.
That's what we don't know yet. I know FPV pilots have taken their Hall effect sensors and their transmitters, and haven't had issues. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
It just depends on the magnetism.
That does sound cool, in my opinion. But we'll see. And magnets do wear out, but it takes like 100 years. We'll be dead by then. Approachability, engage and delight, lift to wake. I love that. Lift to wake. Familiar Xbox feels.
I hate that.
Ergonomics as Merlin, whatever Merlin was.
Probably the current controller that came with the console.
The current controller.
Great. Yeah, it's the best controller. Sim layout and activation forces. SELE and Xbox Digital.
No.
XDL.
Design Lab. Xbox Design Lab.
Oh, Xbox Design Labs. Standard edition, limited edition, Xbox Design Lab. Okay. Options as expected.
There, so then you won't get that nasty color combo. You can change it.
And here we go. The biggest improvement here: immersion, feel the game, precision haptic feedback, VCA haptics, double S speakers, an accelerometer, quieter buttons and thumbsticks. They basically took the PlayStation controller and threw it into the Xbox controller. If I'm being honest here,
they did.
Except they didn't tell you had to blow into it.
Yeah. But here, the VCA haptics doubling as speakers, so it has some sort of special plastic membrane to use the haptic vibration as speakers. So, yeah.
As long as you can disable it, you need to be able to disable it.
If you disable it, you get rid of the haptics.
Yeah, but think about it. If you're live streaming, you don't want that picking up on your microphones. You need to be able to turn it off.
Well, that's
That's
why we're
terrible
going to
for a
live stream with
streamer.
Merlin.
I'm just saying it's terrible. I don't want that.
It needs to be customizable like that. You know,
Yeah,
again,
I want-
haptic feedbacks for streaming is a big deal.
When
But
the
at the same time,
The DualSense 4 first came out and they had the speakers, I hated it. I turned that off. I don't like that.
yeah. But
I'm
here's
not a fan.
it's cool for certain games, but again, you know, it needs to be an option. Here's the other thing: haptic feedback also can reduce battery life. So that you also have control when a lot of gamers, when they're playing like Call of Duty, they turn off the haptic feedback because it affects their trigger, not the trigger, but you know, their sight trying to turn, you know, so a lot of people turn it off. I like mine on, and I don't care if if my aim is poor. It's poor. I'm not going to blame it on the trigger. I'm not going to blame it on the haptic feedback throwing my trigger off. None of that stuff. It's just what it is. But some people are fine tuned to all that. So a lot of this stuff needs to be um, adjustable. So you can turn it off if you want it. If you want to reduce it, you know, just like with the lift to wake. I don't like that because what happens when you move your motion, your controller?
Yep.
You're not
When you move
you're not
you
using
know
it.
what, man? Now it lifted to wake. Now you're dedicated. Oh no, now you got a game for 3 hours. You know.
Yeah,
or
I don't
or
like
the
that.
battery
Hold on, guys.
dies.
Let me interrupt you for a minute here. Let me get some of these chats here. Doggy Dog says that controller's ugly as hell. I agree, Doggy. That color sucks. Let's see. Happy Cloud Gamer says that controller is a day one buy. I do too. Cloud Direct Contact. Yeah, I love that too. Scott Free thinks that the magnetic, what was it called again?
The Hall effect sensors.
Hall effect sensors are interesting. Let's see. Fastback says I will probably get this, but not in the two-tone black and white. Yeah. And Scott Free says I also turned it off. Terry, for a long stream, that feedback hurts my hands. I hope it doesn't mean turn the system on. Well, you might have some options.
That could be an option, Mike.
Jacob Novik says, well, okay. Phil's Dreams was revealed, but if we exclude Nintendo, because actually it could be a monopoly, if iBio could go through, Microsoft would be required to change very much their PC store, but it would go through. Maybe. We'll see. And Mike says, leave the haptic in the junkyard.
That's not Mike. Try again.
And let's see. Lift to wake might not mean console wake, just be the controller. That could be true. That could be true. And I like the DualSense. So, yeah, there you go. Lots of opinions on this controller. Wow. And I'm sorry, guys. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't want the controller to just spontaneously turn on every time you have to move it, you know.
Well, I don't think it will because it pairs to devices in cloud. So if it lifts to wake, it might lift to wake and connect to you. It might have a in the app.
Yeah, so if you're cleaning and you're dusting and you have to move it, now it's turning on and it's, you know, accessing stuff. I don't want to do
I'm telling you, man, too bad. Now you got a game. You got to
Wait
stop
a
dusting and start gaming.
I don't like it.
Are you talking about the fact that someone's actually dusting? Gamers are dusting? We're not dusting. Have you seen?
I'm just saying.
Have you seen those pictures?
I'm just saying. There are some dirty people out there. But I'm just saying, you know, every time you move it, or if you have small children there just running around with stuff because they grab everything, or if you have, you know, cats that like to knock stuff off the table, you know what I mean?
Time to get some new cats, Terry.
I'm just saying, you know, I don't want it to. I don't want it to do that.
I just don't want the control to turn on automatically.
Yeah, and then how long is it?
And then however long
it turns off automatically? Because now that means every time, you know, something, if it gets triggered, it's going to be draining your battery, and then when you're finally ready to play, now your controller's dead.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, how long does it stay on?
Well, I think that could also be a.
It needs to have an option to disable.
It could be a setting too.
That
it only comes on for 5 minutes unless you're moving around or connected. So maybe when it's not connected to anything, it could be like a minute turn on and turn. But either way, it should be an option. We don't know what it is yet. We don't know if the lift awake is going to turn on the console. Again, I want that to be an option because certain consoles I want to have, as soon as I sit down and pick up the controller, the lift awake would be great, because as soon as I sit down, I pick it up, console turns on, everything, make it magical like Kinect used to be. Stuff like that, it would be nice. But again, we don't know, and this is just something that was back in 2002 that they had. This was old information, according to Phil and the rest of them, from 2002.
By the way, Terry, I found a video of what happens
2022
with this lift to wake.
Oh goodness.
Are you ready?
Let's pause.
Here we go. Every time I try to do my homework, yeah. Okay, so he dropped his homework, by the way.
I don't understand what's happening.
he slips on it and falls into the gaming.
He slips on it and falls into gaming. That's what you need to do when you. Oh, I'm dusty. No, I grabbed my controller. Now I have to game. I know. Oh my god.
No.
All right. Sorry. Keep going, guys.
Yeah, no, it just depends, because there's already features where when your controller turns on, it automatically signs somebody else in.
Yeah, I love
you
that.
You also have settings for it. Could, when your stuff turns on, it can turn your TV on. So if you are sharing this console, like the one in the living room, auto signs in my husband when he uses the controller, because I rarely use the one out there, so it's fine. But if you're sharing this, if someone moves it, is it? I mean, I just feel like that's just going to be more convenient if it's, it's turning on the console, it's turning on your TV, it's doing all these things, and you didn't want any of that on, And then I don't know. It just depends on the use, Just depends.
Well, some people might not like the lift to wake, but I only touch my controller whenever I'm ready to game, because it always goes in the same spot. So, to me, that lift to wake, I love that feature. The haptics, I do like the haptics on the PlayStation controller. Do I think they're as revolutionary as everybody says it is? I don't think so. To me, the touchpad on the PlayStation controller is more revolutionary than the haptics.
How does because I haven't experienced because I know the PS5 has haptics. I haven't tried a PS5, so I don't even know what the haptics feels like. Is it adjustable? Because I'm just thinking about
completely.
I'm just thinking about when it comes to vibration in the controller. I always tone mine down because it does I get hand pain.
In the settings, the system settings, you can turn them off completely. 100%. Turn off the speaker, turn off the haptics, turn off the resistor.
Can you adjust it though? Because the vibration on your controller, and in some games, you can adjust how strong it is. I would like to have the option to still have it, but to be able to dull it, not get rid of it completely.
So Xbox and PlayStation are very different, where Xbox does it through the game. PlayStation does it at a system level. And I haven't really looked at it because I like having it on. I just know you can turn it off. I haven't looked if you can adjust it. If anybody in the chat knows the answer to Terry's question, I'm sure she would appreciate it.
If it's adjustable, then I would be all for it. Because otherwise, there's no point in me getting it if I'm going to keep all these features off. Then I'm just turning it into the basic controller at that point.
Let me ask you guys a question. Are you guys confusing force feedback with haptics?
No.
Those are two different things.
No,
I just want to make sure
that everybody... are the force feedback. Yeah.
I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page on this one, because some people have been confused online with that because they didn't want their triggers. I'm like, no, haptic is letting you know. Force feedback is like when your gun jams and you can't pull the trigger and you have to clear the gun, which is very ultra realistic. But some people don't like that in a game like Call of Duty or Halo. You don't want gun jams. You just want
any vibration on the controller messes up the
vibration will mess up your aiming per se, but it's not that bad that you can do that. Now, my whole thing is, again, any little extra thing, just like PlayStation, they had the LED on the PlayStation 4, which suck down battery life. Anything extra like that will suck down battery life. So you gotta, that's why I was bringing it up, as I want that to be optional. I don't mind it because I'm used to it, but for battery life, if you're playing a long game and you want to just get into it, you don't want to sit there and reduce your battery life because you have all this feedback coming back.
Yeah. No. The haptics to me are the biggest addition. The motor that PlayStation uses for haptic, I know they copyrighted that and the resistance triggers. So I personally like the rumble triggers way more than resistant triggers. But the haptics on the lower part of the controller instead of just the rumbling, it's definitely better. But again, I don't think it's that life-changing personally because I did some experiments with the haptic. Without that little speaker on the PlayStation controller, those haptics don't feel that great. It's the fact that the speaker is letting out the little skating noise or whatever the haptic is.
How loud is that? So because I'm thinking in terms of
right here.
Your basic controller, they have the little weights that spin and it vibrates.
Yeah.
And if you have that turned all the way up, your controller is crazy loud. How loud is that? Because I don't like my controller being loud.
So the PlayStation haptic doesn't use spinning anything. It's like a piston.
Okay.
That moves up forward and backwards.
Okay.
Or I guess in the controller, I guess it's up and down, and that's how they're doing it. So, that's how they can control how fast or slow it feels, and also how intense it feels. But again, that little speaker is what tells you what they're using to haptic at that point. That's what you're feeling. Like if it's little raindrops will come out of that PlayStation speaker, and that's what the little motor is simulating is raindrops. So, or if it's like steps,
sounds good. It just depends on how loud it is.
If it's like steps, it's like step, 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 and it's some games go really intense. They're like left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, right?
Okay.
And some of them are like if you play some scarier games, like the growling, like the that deep bass, it'll come out through here, and the little things will pick it up. So I think the speaker, the VCA haptics that double as speakers. That's why, so that way what the controller is trying to use for the immersion.
Okay.
And shout out to PlayStation for figuring this out. And the greatest compliment is flattery.
Mm-hmm.
So, or what is it?
Imitation.
No.
Imitation is
the greatest
flattery.
Compliment is imitation, right? And so the fact that your competition is now going to copy you, good for you guys. I'm not going to say that the DualSense is not a great controller. It is a great controller. It's the most comfortable controller to date. The joystick buttons mean so much to me that I still think the Xbox controller is better. And I don't think the haptics, again, are so life-changing that it's somehow I'm more immersed. Like when I think immersion, I think of VR. Trust me, there's no immersion like VR. Okay. Let's check in with the chat real quick. Jacob Novak says, I like the DualSense. So, yeah, I love the DualSense too. Here we go. I like the lift to turn on controller. Yeah, I love that too. For GQ TV. Shout out to Carlo. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. He says, that controller is a boomerang. That's right. Dark Zone. Shout out to Dark Zone for joining us. He says, Nintendo is not selling to anyone, let alone Microsoft. Nintendo is killing it with the Switch, and the Switch 2 is right around the corner. They may not be selling to anyone anytime soon. We're going to talk about that later on in the show. We'll get to it. Even though, dang, we've been talking about an hour and a half about just hardware. This might be the longest episode ever, guys. The controller looks like it's showing its behind with the boxers down. Yeah. Let's see. 4G. Oh, yeah, that's an old controller. I would have loved that old Microsoft Sidewinder controller. That thing looked more like a boomerang than this one they're showing. That Sidewinder was something. Let's see. Let's see if we can find someone else. When Dreadpool was talking about Connect, I remember when Connect would sign you on if it saw you. Yeah, I remember if you had multiple people identified in the Connect, if it saw you, it would automatically sign you in, even if you weren't playing the game.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a super cool feature.
It was
Again,
great.
I love the Kinect. I don't know why they got rid of it. I don't know why gamers were so like, the Kinect.
Because anything that's forced upon you is automatically hated. That's why.
Forced upon you. Whatever, man. Socks are forced upon you. Go
I
out there
was
and walk
happy with
barefoot.
it. I was happy with it, but it's the same thing. You know, Tiny Giant would walk in the room, and that made her day that the Xbox saw her and said hello to her.
Yeah.
You know, and she was, 3, 4. She loved it.
Exactly. And shout out to Mr. Kima. He says, good morning, Xbox fans. Good morning, Mr. Kima. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Let's see. Chrissy Greeton said haptics is just Rumble, but prices. Like one, the Switch where you can feel the Lime 3 dice shaking in there. Yeah. The HD Rumble is what they call it. Yeah. HD Rumble.
I like that. That would be cool for the rest of us to be able to enjoy something like that.
Why does it sound so bad? It's saying I touch my controller every save versus using my controller every day. Okay, now it sounds bad anyway. I touch my controller. So funny. Epic Cloud Gamer. That's funny. And yeah, the leaks did say that the controllers were funded. And some were not funded, but yeah, I mean, this is why you make presentations so you can get your funding. And who knows, maybe this one was it. Let's see. And I think we are all caught up.
One more.
Where? Jacob Novik?
No, Dark Zone. Hey, Cool Cat.
Oh, okay. Here we go. He says, hey, Cool Cat, I just turned on my PlayStation 5 to check if you can change the vibration of the trigger effects, intensity, the speaker volume, and the controller. So can you?
I think he confirmed that you can.
Oh, to check for you, period. You can. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Got it, Dark Zone. Yeah, thank you. So there you go. You can. So yeah, there you go. Sebille, Project Sebille, the new controller. And for me, this is basically a day one buy. Hopefully they come in additions because I don't want to buy like a day one regular, but we'll see. Terry, how do other people feel about Sebille?
Are you excited? 80% heck yeah, give me the haptics. 13% prefer the regular controller, and 6% are cheap, and they only will have it if someone gives it to them. So.
All right. Up next, of course, is all the hardware that Xbox is planning. So Xbox gaming beyond the console, their browser, mobile, smart TVs, low and mid PCs, 3-piece streaming sticks,
third party
set-top boxes.
Third party.
Yeah. Oh, third-party streaming. Yeah. Sticks and set-top boxes. Thank you, Dreadpool. Cloud device, handhelds, consoles, high-end PCs, cloud blades. So browser, mobile. So let's check them off. Browser, check. Mobile, check. Smart TVs, checks. Low and mid PCs, check. This one's not yet. Cloud device, not yet. Handheld, the Kishi? I guess the ROG Ally and the what was that? That cloud one, the LG Cloud something, or was it Logitech Cloud?
Web Dave knows that one because he bought it.
What was it?
It was the LG something.
I thought it was a Logitech something. Whatever. Check. Consoles, check. High-end PCs, check. Cloud blades, check. So the only ones that are missing here are these two. And right. This is a little Xbox, by the way, guys. A little square Xbox. I don't know if you noticed. These all have like just regular like single line drawings, and these actually have pictures. So consoles have pictures. The cloud device has a picture, and the handheld has a picture. So these two are the only ones missing.
You notice that sounds a lot like what I've been saying years ago. Roku stick, or I'm sorry, the Fire Stick, a Roku box.
Yeah.
Oh, look, that cloud device looks like a Roku box.
Yeah. Oh my God, what was it? Now I'm looking for it. All right. It was a Logitech G Cloud. That's what it was called. It's the Logitech G Cloud.
Yep, there you go.
Yes, the G Cloud. Yes. So yeah. Now let's check down on the hardware designed for Xbox. Now this doesn't mean that they will do it, but it will be designed. So take like the Forza steering wheel. You have an officially licensed Forza steering wheel, but not made by Xbox, right? I have a Thrustmaster flight stick, officially licensed by Xbox. My Razer Kishi You can buy just a regular Android one, or you can buy the one that's licensed by Xbox. So designed for Xbox means that they're using the Xbox button layouts, right? So a one-handed controller, that's going to be interesting. A mobile controller, which is, to me, this is more like the Razer Kishi because it just looks like it. The backbone, the Razer Kishi. So I think mobile controllers, check. Audio, yes, check. Core controllers, premium, elite. Gaming keyboards and mice. So we're going to get Xbox gaming keyboards and mices, which I have a Master Chief Razer Death Adder version 3.0, or sorry, version 2, that I love. Again, officially licensed.
And that premium looks like Sebille.
Yeah.
Sebille,
Sebille. Yeah, Sebille. Oh, you're right. It does have that rubber.
Right. That's exactly. Yeah, that's the.
With
so
that shiny.
You're gonna have core, which it comes with your consoles. And now you can have a premium or an elite.
Yeah.
But I was looking at Sebille being like the next version of an elite.
I hope not. I hope it's more affordable because, man, I'm going to have a tough time convincing my wife to buy another $300 controller when my current $300 controller works just fine.
Right. But if you look at premium, right, the Sebille that's got the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth and the cloud. Yep. So that would be why you could still sell the core separately for, to be the cheaper models, and then the premium would be the middle model that could be your handheld console per se.
They have the boxers on. They have the pants. You can see it. The lines. They have the pants.
So
I hope they change that. I hope to God they change that.
Well, I think they want to make it so it looks different. So they might not change it.
I hope they do. They should make them all look like the elite with the leggings, with the you know, I don't know what to call it. The one-handed controller is interesting. I don't know how you can play Xbox with one hand, or maybe they're thinking more like Joy-Cons.
It could be it could be a Joy-Con.
Joy-Con style controller. That could be
as long as it's larger than the Joy-Con, because those things are terrible.
It could be something that goes to the.
When you get to play the Joy-Cons in your hands, they're actually not too big. They're perfect for.
Oh, you know what? Those would come in handy for games that are like your Telltale games, where you literally just gotta like move up and down to select something, like you know.
Mm-hmm.
It could. It could
be your games that don't only have like one or two button presses.
It could be something that connects to the Xbox adaptive controller, so that way instead of using, because we have friends that use one hand that play with controller, and they have to lay their hand on top. Maybe this will allow them to use one hand and the adaptive controller for the other stuff. Exactly, Dragonheart Yobi. That's what I was thinking of. Was Graphic God and UK Dazarus. Both of them play with one hand.
Yeah, they do. You're right. They do play with one hand. Yeah.
Right. So again, this could benefit them. So, and this is the beauty that they're thinking of more than just the average person. They're thinking outside the box on other people that also play that have a hard time playing.
Mm-hmm.
So to help it, help them have an easier enjoyment. We're also friends with Cerebral Paul, which has a hard time with stuff. So again, certain things like this can help out.
So let's go down the list here. So mobile controller, again, I think this is like the Razer Kishi, the backbone. This is a check. Audio, obviously they have that with their own in-brand audio, but again, I have the Halo Infinite headset licensed by Razer. Check. Core, premium, and elite. So the core controllers check and the elite controllers check. So the premium is coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Gaming keyboards and mice by Xbox. Those aren't there yet, but I'm sure they will be.
I think that might be Logitech branded also.
It could be. It
because
could be.
A lot of that
it could
hardware,
have like a Game Pass button or something.
Yeah, a lot of that hardware is Logitech branded when it comes.
The only things that are really missing is the one-handed controller, the premium controller. I guess to an extent, maybe the gaming keyboard and mice, although there is also a Halo Infinite Razer keyboard. And of course, I just showed you the mouse. So this could already be checked. So need. So Xbox is hitting all these. Xbox is hitting their stride on hardware, guys. Xbox everywhere. Xbox everywhere. Let's see. Dragonheart Yobi joins us. Shout out to Dragonheart Yobi. I know you already got a shout out, Red Dreadpool, but thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. handheld isn't checked because it isn't their device. I would love the handheld from Xbox. I would too, but I don't think they're going to. I tried to use a ROG Ally the other day. Obviously, it wasn't connected to the internet, so it wasn't loading any cloud games, which is all it had. But there's lots of great third parties. If Xbox brings out a handheld, they're gonna have to bring it out like
it doesn't have to be their own handheld, because think about it. There isn't an official Xbox brand TV. There isn't an official Xbox manufactured PC.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it doesn't have to be theirs.
That's
good
point,
what I was Terry. Thinking. Good clap back.
Logic.
Logic.
The only thing that I see missing, and again, it doesn't have to be Xbox themselves. It could be a third party brand, and that is VR.
Xbox was supposed to team with Oculus to bring Game Pass cloud gaming to Oculus, and it has yet to arrive. And that was almost a year ago at this point. Almost 2 years. No, over a year at this point, and I'm still waiting for it. So maybe it'll come with Oculus for 3.0, Quest 3, which I'm going to buy. So I'm about to start listing my Quest 2 for sale, but we'll see. I'm going to list it on eBay. I don't know what this eBay comment was about Splendiferous, but I'm going to list it on eBay. You're right. Let's see. I think people misinterpret what Phil said in his email about if they will leave the gaming market. I mean, the physical media, they're going to be fully digital media. Maybe. We'll see.
So here's the other thing. Why would you do a handheld when you can have the premium? You bring the premium along with you. No matter what you have, there's your console.
Yeah, I think so too. That's the big attraction to the ROG Ally for me, is that I can natively install the game, log in, and just play. But I'd have to test it without Wi-Fi, because if I can't play it at the airport, I don't want it.
Yeah, that Logitech thing that you said,
the G Cloud can't.
Yeah, the G Cloud. Yeah. That thing there is Wi-Fi only.
Yeah, I understand, Wi-Fi but that's only. Why the attraction to the ROG Ally is because it's an actual mini PC.
Correct. Yeah, but that's I just want to make sure that the listeners understood that there's a difference between the two.
Yeah, the keyboard and mouse is for when they put World of Warcraft on Xbox. Yeah, that could be true. Let's see, and Dark Zone says, I like playing Game Pass on my ROG. Dark Zone, can you turn off the Wi-Fi and all the connections and try to play an installed game like, I don't know, Forza Motorsport or Forza something, any Xbox game you have installed, and tell me if it lets you. Xbox branded laptop and tablet. You know all those stickers that come with your laptop? Like, I have one here that says Intel Core i7, Gen 2, GeForce, and NVIDIA GeForce Energy Star VR ready. A lot of them are going to be now like Xbox Game Pass. Imagine buying laptops with Xbox Game Pass stickers on them. That'd be something.
Well, we got the Surface. Those are laptop / tablet.
And Doggy Dog Bane is saying, we don't need that fail VR. So let's see. Give me a Series S in handheld form, and you got my money from Dragonheart Yobi. Oops, sorry. And Splendiferous is going to go get his ROG Ally. Shout out to Splendiferous. Thank you so much. That's why you are the real MVP. Let's see. PlayStation can't even get people to buy PSVR 2. Damn. Well, you don't gotta kill him. They're already down, man. You don't gotta kill him. Let's see. Dragonheart Yobi says, I'm gonna get that Logitech G Cloud for Xbox for myself, and while I'm on the go, I'll use my hotspot. Yeah, I game on my phone all the time, so you should be able to work. And shout out to Princess Zelda. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Thank you so much. Let's see. I can't beat the first boss in Lies of P. So, Princess Zelda, I know how to cheese them. The first step to cheesing that boss is to get good.
The next step is tell Titan Drago that he's playing Smite.
That's right. Yeah. You have to parry. It should be called Lies of Parrying. If you cannot parry, you will not have a good time in that game. You have to get that parry down. It's very much like Sekiro, only with worse parrying. So yeah, that's all the hardware, guys. Final thoughts on the hardware. Do you guys think that the hardware future for Xbox looks fantastic?
I think they're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Let's clarify this. I think they're going in the right direction for them. And as a tech head, I can appreciate that and am ecstatic about it. Hopefully, VR, like I said, I'm not a huge VR person. We don't own anything VR other than our phones that can do it, but we don't really use it.
Mhm.
But that would be the next step that I see is missing. And Cool Cat, you're right. AR more.
AR
more
100% is the future.
Yeah,
AR.
but the HoloLens division got gutted, so we'll see.
But-
I don't think it's coming back
But
anytime.
the HoloLens division is being used with government contracts. So just like Connect.
Yeah, but the commercial HoloLens portion of it got gutted.
Yes, it did. But I'm just saying, just like Connect.
I think about it when you watch like your major sporting events and like concerts and stuff, they're all using AR. Like
Yeah.
AR is
Have
already
you seen Thursday
being-
Night Football on
so
Amazon? Holy cow!
AR is the future.
Holy cow!
And everybody can enjoy it without having to buy hardware. You know, it's the future.
Well, here's the other thing: is the Connect, right? We all want the Connect 3.0. Well, technically, there is a version of the Connect, which is the Connect Azure, and that is being used currently in airports to count and monitor people as they come through. So it's not just airports, but there's other industries that use that. So there's a
The
lot of
military
technology out
uses a
there.
lot of that too.
Well, I'm talking about the Connect part of it.
Yeah, I think the military
So-
also has stuff with that.
I know that they have stuff, but I know they're using more of the HoloLens out in the field.
That's all theoretical hardware. We're kind of talking about this hardware here.
I know, but that's what I'm getting at. It's there, and just it'd be nice that they brought it in. And I'm the tech head, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is stuff I love. I love future technology. I love where technology is now, and I love seeing where we're going.
I want Xbox to laugh in everyone's face with this VR nonsense and be like, no, AR. And it just blows up. That's what I want.
They did say that.
That's what needs to happen because people are used to VR because it's been pushed since like the 80s. Okay. So it's what people know. And so they know.
I've played VR at game shows when they had the blocky animations and this big old freaking thing over your head. They actually brought it to one of the arcades at one point in time, which was many years later. That's how advanced that got over time, and it was still blocky. Okay, so where we're at now with VR?
VR is taking forever because think about it. It's taken them over 30 years to get where they are now, and it still isn't sustainable to where people can just use it.
VR is like where it is now. I would say it's kind of like Nintendo Switch style right now. With standalone VR, obviously it looks a lot better if you connect it to a rig, all that stuff, right? Standalone VR is about Nintendo Switch level currently.
Right.
AR is better,
but it also needs to be. You look at the rigs that you're hooking up to it to do that, and you also look at the fact that I believe Xbox would do it once the Wi-Fi standard is stable
Wi-Fi
enough.
6?
No, not that Wi-Fi. The millimeter millimeter bands that they can use. I've had a couple routers that had those, and nobody used the technology. But the technology is like fast. It could be in Wi-Fi 7 if they add to it, and they could do that. And then that way, all you have to do is put the headset on, no wires, no nothing, and then there you go. Everything's already synced up, and boom, you're in there. So it just depends on how far they get to it. Yeah, look at that thing.
That would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Looks like skiing goggles.
Hey, man, better than my
I like
Quest.
the look of it, though. It does look a lot more sleek than some other ones that are out there.
Yeah, it's very slick. It's very slick.
It's very sleek, but it just reminds me of like if you're going skiing or snowboarding.
Yeah.
And that's where your hardware on your console would do all the work. And your goggles just darken up so that way you can, or lighten
what
up
if
for
what
AR.
if hear me out here, guys? What if Xbox VR is actually cloud VR using the power of the cloud?
That's fine
Now,
too.
the power of the cloud, don't laugh at it anymore. We might have laughed at it on Crackdown 3, but Flight Simulator connected to the internet and Flight Simulator not connected to the internet are two vastly different experiences. And the
Right.
internet power of the cloud version is way superior to the unconnected version.
And that's kind of where I was headed to.
And if you're looking at Forza Motorsport, the new Forza Motorsport 8, a lot of track physics and stuff are going to be done in the cloud. So Forza Motorsport 8 is not going to be a offline game, even in single player. So what if Xbox is waiting to do VR with the power of the cloud? So instead of hooked up to your computer or to an Xbox, you're logged into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Boom, power of the cloud, VR mode. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Nothing? Am I muted?
Hello?
No, you're not muted.
Dreadful must have been muted. Yeah, what's up?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I still think that VR is going to phase out, and eventually people are going to wake up and realize that AR is superior.
Yeah,
AR is superior,
I
but
think
it's so much more difficult to implement.
Yeah, I think for most part, most people just don't really associate AR with anything. Those of us that know about AR kind of forget about it, and we say VR. I do the same thing. I don't always mean VR when I'm talking about AR, and I need to always clarify that too. And that's a misinterpretation of words or acronyms.
Just
But yeah,
based on the
AR is the best because you could still dim out the whole goggle so you can't see anything and literally go into VR, or you can open it up so you can view through it and literally augment what you see in front of you. So that's the beauty of AR. You can do both what you see in your environment, and you can dim it out so that way it's only what you normally would see with VR. AR is basically the best of both worlds.
It is, but the amount of I don't think we're there yet. We're maybe 20 years, 50 years out.
We're still not there
Because
yet with
the amount
VR.
of
So, I
data
mean,
needed for AR to work,
VR's
the amount
already
of
had
data
over 30
gathering
years
is
to develop, and it's
massive.
still not there.
Massive.
Yeah, but it takes a lot of computing, and back in those days they didn't have the technology. They were still developing the technology. Now we're closer with the technology because of where gaming is in general, even movies. So we're all using the same technology. I've already mentioned it before. Unreal 5.
Yep.
If you look at it, they're using that now in movies. So
I think we have the technology. It's just not accessible to the public. It's all like military
It's-
only. You know what I mean?
well, and it requires a lot of power, and that's where I was saying hybrid before. Also, for that thing, where hybrid now has a new meaning, where the console was. I didn't think we were going to go there just yet, but I'll just go ahead and bring it up now. We can still dive into it, but the hybrid console in 2028 is basically what I'm thinking, and what Axel just said also, because I brought it up during Iron Lords. They're all like freaking out on what a hybrid console is. And I was like, I'm looking at it as what they do with Microsoft Flight Simulator, where it's an addition to. It's not saying that the hardware is incapable of doing this stuff, but it's also an addition to help it out and do more. And that's where, Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's possible to play it console only offline, but it's a night and day difference when you use the cloud to help support the console. And that's where a lot of these consoles are going to, I believe in the future, will end up being more hybrid. And if you do the same thing here with AR, you can do that with all of this. You can process locally and with the cloud, which has more power to do all this, because again, we started with blocks, we started with triangles, we started with all these different shapes and outlines, so they weren't even full on, and yet again, it's just like pieces were going off like that, and here we are with the military using AR, the airports using Connect, and the augmentation of all of this with computers and real life to see this. I mean, we've seen videos now where companies are, let's say it's Starbucks. I don't know what the company was, but let's just say Starbucks. They were checking and counting how many people were making how many coffees. That was a big issue, right? Because people were like, oh, well, Betty in the back only made 3 coffees. Well, Sarah in the front made 20 coffees in the same period. And it's like, well, we don't know what, Betty in the back, it could be the manager where she's like managing everybody, making sure everything else is good, which is why she's only made 3 coffees, because she's been helping, but she's also been doing other things like inventory and, making sure customer service is proper for their customers as they come in, and we don't know. But that's what's going on with computers and everything now with video. Well, now we're turning it around where it's not video, it's gameplay, and we're doing everything as it's going, and the cloud could help. So at some point in time, like I said, maybe we'll have a wireless headset, and we won't need a standalone headset like the Quest is. That is standalone, it is wireless, but all the machinery is inside. Maybe we just need a receiver and just be done with it. Just kind of like I brought up earlier, the first person view pilots, the FPV drones, those guys, they just put the goggles on and they see what's going on. So there's so many different ways that all this can culminate into great technology. It's just we're still in the baby steps phase.
Yes, but let's check in with the chat, guys. As much as I love the derailment to VR,
sorry.
No, the conversation will go where it goes. I don't mind it. It's very natural, and we all have thoughts on VR because some of us are very for it, some of us are very against it. Let's check in here. First off, boom, boom, kaboom. Noof Nukem is in the room. Thank you so much for joining us. Noof Nukem, you are the real MVP. And Noof Nukem will be coming into Xbox. Good Morning Xbox sometime soon, guys. Sometime soon as a guest to once again grace us with his presence, guys. Let's see here. Noof Nukem says VR has come a long way, but it still has some barriers to get past. Agreed. Let's see. VR headsets need to be light, self-contained, and breathable. Yeah, once again, power of the cloud, baby. Power of the cloud. Let's see. And I think Facebook and Xbox is doing VR. Yeah, I think so too. I kind of thought they would. Let's see. Problem with VR is most games just feel like experiences and not games, but there are some games that feel like games in VR with great experiences, like GT7 in VR is good, Resident Evil Village is good VR. Half-Life Alyx is a full-blown VR game. It's getting a lot better. As Dreadpool said, we're in the baby steps.
You got to get rid of the floating hands and weapons. Like that's like the biggest thing that keeps you from getting immersed is you have floating hands. I hate it.
I don't understand how floating hands bother you so much because they don't bother me at all.
I hate it. I hate it.
Somebody just had a game where you can actually see your feet. They just showed a video on that not too long ago where you saw your body. You could see. Obviously, your elbows weren't in place, but you could see your body. And I believe earlier Yobi said, was it Yobi? Somebody said it about Ready Player One. I believe that'll be the next.
Yeah.
The next step where you just.
It took them 30 years just to get to like the headset they got now. It's to get to Ready Player One's probably another 100 years. At the rate they're going, so I don't foresee that anytime soon.
Let's get that jumpsuit on with the
So Jacob Novak asks, is that a prototype of the HoloLens? No, this is an April Fool's gag from one of the websites. I just found it and thought it was interesting. There is no actual Xbox One anything here.
No.
So yeah.
But it does have a good view on what it could be. If it was.
Would you guys, now this is just, an idea I have. So for those of you that are into your VR headsets,
Mhm.
You know, and with the push of cloud gaming and mobile gaming, how would you feel about having the option to turn the exterior of your headset into an actual projection to where people can see your gameplay? So that way, if you're out and about with friends and you're not hooked up to like a TV or whatever, and you're just like outdoors, you know, enjoying playing your VR thing on your off your phone, they can see your gameplay.
I think that's a great
Wow.
idea where
Mhm.
it would obviously cast a mirror image. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're seeing, it would be the mirror image for them looking backwards
It'd
at
be like
you.
a little mini like phone screen, I guess,
Yeah.
built into the lens that you could either turn on or off,
Yeah. So I think that would be good
and
unless
have
you're
like a protective cover that goes over it so you're not scratching it when you're not using it.
yeah, or just let it bleed through. So that way they can, you know, they're not seeing everything crystal clear, but you can let it bleed through. You just have to be careful what you're watching.
If anyone invents that,
Something like this, Terry?
I want royalties on the idea. Okay.
Something like this.
Yes, something like that.
Again, guys, all this is just off the internet. Nothing's real here. All right.
Or
Let's see.
or
The
project
game
your
complainers
eyeballs
joins us. Thank you so much
No,
for
I
to
don't
the
want.
game
I don't want
complainers.
to
You are the
see
real
through it.
MVP. Yeah, that would be something.
They got the ones right now. Or is it Apple's got the ones right with they
Project
got
Neo
your
was the name for
eyeballs?
PSVR 1. Yeah, that's why it's a joke. That's why it's a joke. Yeah. But the overall hardware for Xbox, guys. Let me pull up my next slide here. That's the hardware that's in the near future. Let me see if I have the far future here. Dreadpool mentioned it. What did you call it, Dreadpool?
Which one?
The far one.
The far one.
Mm-hmm.
You mean the hybrid console in 2018?
Hybrid console. There we go.
Hybrid.
Hybrid.
Yeah,
Hybrid.
2028.
Do I have that
It
slide?
should be. I thought it was on that one, the yearly one, the one with the years, your fiscal year.
Fiscal year one. Give me a second. Going through all these slides. Additional 60 days allows them less chances.
It tells you what each
Starkville,
console
Brooklyn
is launching.
arrives. No, it's not there.
No,
Not there.
really, that's weird.
But I do know what you're talking about here. It's the next gen projected 2028 console. I don't think they put out any real information on it other than calling it the hybrid console.
Yeah, that's all they did is they called it a hybrid console. Oh, I'm trying to see if I can find it. Here it is. No, that's a different one. Oh, by the way, so you guys know, there's a Series X, which is Brooklyn, and then they have the Series X and XDL, which is the Xbox Design Lab, and that's called Uther, UTHER. So you're gonna have a Design Lab version of that, and then the controller, which we called Sebille, is going to be eGrain,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be also a Design Lab version too. So where was that information?
What is it? Seriously.
Full convergence. No, that's not the one. No, that's not it.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah,
there's a lot of slides to go through.
There's so many slides.
It's crazy how many slides.
And I know we saw it earlier.
Okay, let's just use this one. I think there's about as close to hybrid as it's going to get. Here.
Okay.
Key technological enablers for this vision: cohesive hybrid compute, cloud to edge architecture across silicon graphics and OS enabling ubiquitous play, AI and ML enablement, so artificial intelligence and machine learning enablement, optimization and acceleration of games, performance operations and development for players and creators, creator platform, open accessible, blah, blah, blah. So here's where you are cohesive hybrid compute. Yeah, and I'm thinking it's going to be more like, as we said, more like Microsoft Simulator, which I'm all for. I have an internet connection. I don't live in a country that doesn't have internet. This is great for me.
Okay.
So, yeah. the hybrid console, the 2028 hybrid console, as they're going to call it, right? When they say it needs online always, they might mean it. What do you think about that, Dreadpole? Are people still going to be like, but what if you want to play offline? What if I don't have internet? What if I live in 1980 and I don't have internet? Do you think people are still going to be like that?
Yes.
Ugh.
Yes,
Live in the now, you dinosaurs.
Yeah, we're gonna see that no matter what. Get off my lawn, da 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 da, all that fun stuff. I just sent you a link on one of the images that I was looking at that had the hybrid in there.
Did it? Let me see.
It's in the DMs.
Yeah, keep going. I'll find it.
And I'm still looking around for the other one. But yeah, a lot of people are not going to be happy with this. A lot of people are just going to freak out. Some people, I think that's the way that the future is going. Again, Xbox is ahead of the curve. They've always been ahead of the curve. So this might not be where they're at that time. So depending on, we've already talked about the next 2 generations, we may end up not having consoles whatsoever. We already have the controller that's going to act as a access to the Xbox, so you can play on your phone, you can play on your TV, you can play on anything that you can connect to and just stream the game right there. So that could be your next access to a hybrid console, which is or beyond a hybrid console, which is digital only, no console, no nothing. But at least see here, cloud hybrid games like we just talked about. There was another slide, I can't find it now, but there was another slide that actually said hybrid console, and it looked like the one that you had.
To our WK88 who joined us, thank you so much for joining us. He says, iconic video games. I live in a country with no internet. It's called Arkansas. That's how you say it, right? Not Arkansas. Arkansas, yeah. I don't know what to tell you guys, man. Vote in some politicians that want to make internet a utility, and it needs to be accessible to everybody. Because I am all for it. I have had internet in my life since I was 13. I don't even know what I would do without internet at this point in my life.
We would freak out. That's what we would do.
I don't know. Like, I feel like at first it would bother me for like a few weeks, and then I would get so used to not having internet because I grew up without internet, but I also grew up with internet. So I feel like I could adjust either way, but I don't know. I love the internet too much. The internet's never lied to me. No lies ever detected on the internet.
It's why Generation X has the best of all worlds. We were before the internet, before any of that stuff, before cell phones, before grew up, then having pagers, and then having phones, and then having online. So we grew up with that.
I had to do it back when I lived in California for a bit. We lived in the desert, and there's like no internet out there, and there's no cell phone service out there. Like, that was the only time I had to get a hardline phone because there's literally no cell phone service. So you're out there.
RWK, I feel you because I live in a brand new house and AT&T did not run fiber here. I have cable. And, cable has great download speeds, terrible upload speeds. So I feel your pain. I feel it. And I'm in a brand new neighborhood.
There was
back to the hybrid console.
Yeah. I'm still trying to I can't find that image. I'll have to see if we can find it some other time. But yeah, it said console hybrid. It had each version of it. And I recall it being on a similar page like what you just had earlier.
Yeah, I downloaded everything I could find, guys, but doesn't mean I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, no, I know I saw it. I believe it was on this launch timeline. No, it wasn't this one here, but it was something similar where it actually had the breakdown of each console, and it said 2028 and, hybrid. And that's where everybody's freaking out. But again, nonetheless, here we are.
I found it. Okay, hold on.
You found
I'm getting it right now. I found it, Dreadpool. Here we go.
No, that wasn't that slide, but whatever. This will work. I'm not gonna.
There you go. So, cohesive hybrid compute. Our vision: develop a next-generation hybrid game platform capable of leveraging the combined power of the client and cloud to deliver deeper immersion and entire new classes of game experiences. Optimized for real-time gameplay and creators, we will enable new levels of performance beyond the capability of the hardware alone. The power of the cloud, everybody. Graphics innovation, next-gen DirectX ray tracing, dynamic global illumination, micro polygon rendering optimizations, machine learning-based super resolution, the Hachi method probably, extensive model for faster iteration and innovation. Guys, that all sounds awesome to me. Give me the hybrid console. What do you think, Terry? Hybrid? Are you in with the hybrid? Hybrid?
The hybrid.
The hybrid. That's hybrid. Hybrid. It's funny because we say hybrid, but it's BIRD bird, but it's hybrid.
No, we don't say hybrid.
The R and the I are swapped. It's not bird.
Hybrid.
Hybrid.
Yeah.
English with Axel.
So go ahead, Terry.
It's just going to be one of those things where, when we get to that point, the people who are all about physical, that's when it's going to really be like, yo, physical's dead. It's coming. Sooner than many of you want to, are going to like. It's coming. They're going to be making a console that's going to be, with more focus on cloud. It means everything's going to be digital.
Yeah, it's a digital future.
Backwards compatibility is going to have to either change to where all of they won't do all because of different licensing issues, but they'll have to start either putting more of the physical games available on digital backwards compatible, or honestly, they could get to a point where, they might just downgrade BC and get rid of a lot of the really old stuff.
Yeah. Dreadpool, let's go to you. Hybrid. One of the words I can't say. Hybrid. It's all about the bird. Yeah. Dreadpool, are you all about the bird?
I am all about the double birds.
Double birds.
So it says key strategic decisions and investments. Okay. So here, it's not saying that this is going to be here. This is the thought process. This is something that they have to figure out. And the CPU says ARM versus 64, balance of big/little CPU cores. Okay, this is stuff that's going on currently in the market, right? With PCs. You have certain big processors doing big things, and you have small ones doing little things, right? Think of let's say the NVIDIA, right? You have CUDA cores. Those CUDA cores are doing simplistic mathematics. So that way your main cores are not doing those, right? AMD is doing the same thing. They have bigger cores and they have smaller cores. Intel is doing the same thing for their CPU, bigger cores and smaller cores. This is just something that they're trying to figure out how to use the differences with all this stuff, and then you have ARM64, which is where the new iMac book or the new Mac is going to. They're using ARM64 as their processor, so that's where they're saying one versus the other, which this is nothing here is set in stone. The vision is telling you what they want, and now down below it's telling you where do we invest in. Here's our decisions we have to figure out. We're balancing what we think the future will need to be at, because this is where they have to invest in, because if they make the wrong decision, it could kill them. Just like forcing Connect on you almost killed them, where they should have right away when they saw the backlash said, okay, well we'll back it off. We'll make sure that you're not forced into it. But right now, this is what we have for consoles because it's already bundled and ready to ship.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they have to figure out that they don't go too far in advance where they get backlash or it ends up not being supported. Okay, and that's the other thing. This is why this, you're talking about 2028. After this, the next couple of years, they're heavily invested on figuring out which design is going to be the best. Right here, co-design with AMD or license AMD IP Navi 5. So, are they going to go with AMD's version, or are they going to co-design their version with AMD? So that's the balance, right? That's what happened earlier with them this year, or not this year, this generation, because they were holding out to the very last minute until they had their setup with their version of the chipset. Because they were trying to wait for AMD to get caught up and finalize their version so that they can incorporate it with their combined version. So when you're talking about the chipsets and all that, they had to figure out what they're doing. And then you got your NPU, which is the balancing desire for flexibility programming, da 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 da. And again, they're looking at it here for forward compatibility. They want to make sure that everything they do, that they push to for the future. So everything that they have now will also go to the future. Everything that they are making in the future will go beyond their future. So there's a lot of stuff here. None of this stuff, as I read it, is set in stone. Right? So again, this is stuff that they want to do based on their vision. These are the options. Look at this. You got ray tracing, right? So we already know that they have a chipset set up for ray tracing. Then they're going to do the next generation version of it. Global illumination, that's something else that's going to be huge. Micro polygon rendering optimizations, that's something that they needed to do a long time ago. ML based super resolution. We already know that super resolution is a big thing that they need to take care of. Extensibility model for easier iteration and innovation, right? So they want to be able to do another refresh. They want to make sure that everything that they do, they don't have to do a pro. They want to be able to, make it easier to optimize and change certain things around without affecting the older consoles to be lesser than, so there's a lot of stuff going on. And then the lacking of a thin OS for a $99 consumer or handheld devices. Again, that if you look at it with the cloud, right? Actually, we're just talking about that with some of these games, with the Rogue Ally or the G Cloud, to use the cloud. Could that, and all you do is charge $99? A lot more people will switch from their cell phones to this product if it's very minimally packed with bloatware that most people call. Obviously, if you need it, you need it. But if this thing here can do your local stuff and then your cloud just feeds right through, awesome.
So what are you saying, that they're getting back in like the phone game, like Microsoft?
Oh, they've been wanting to get back into the phone game. That's why they're buying ABK. That's why Sega.
No, I'm not talking about like on the software side. I'm talking about because Microsoft
on the hardware side.
Because Microsoft, they did the cell phone thing and it didn't work out. They couldn't compete with Android and Apple, so they stopped doing their own thing.
Well, it's kind of like what they're doing right now with Samsung. They have an app that allows them to navigate as if it's not the console version of it, but as if you're in a console. So they have that. They even have a Windows overlay that you can log into that would automatically overlay on top of your Samsung stuff.
Because to me, it sounds like instead of them making, like, what did they have? Microsoft had the, what was it, like the Lumia or whatever they had for their phone. Lumia. So instead of doing that, it says operating system. So instead of, you going Apple or Android, you can get a Samsung phone with an Xbox OS on it.
Well, no, I can do that right now. I can overlay the Xbox. I can overlay the Windows OS on top of Samsung, which would give you access to Xbox and all that. So you can make it look. You can literally overlay. It's basically a thin OS that overlays on top of Samsung's OS as it is, and then you can navigate as if you're on Windows. And then obviously they have their apps, they have their Game Pass app, they have their Xbox app. So I think what they want to do is kind of put that all in as one thing that you can put on there. And if you can buy a device for $100, right? So some sort of screen,
which is cheap, seeing as how like cell
right?
phones are like $1,000.
So it's just another form, because not everybody can afford $1,000 phone. Not everybody can.
And yet they buy them anyway.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
we are idiots like that. Meaning me. But that's the thing is when you look at it, okay, you can buy this device for $100 because the G Cloud I think was what, couple $100. If Dave is still here, he can let us know. But yeah, it was a few $100. I just couldn't see myself doing it for no internet access, none of that stuff. It's all Wi-Fi. So same thing here. Maybe they're trying to find an OS that they can overlay, or something that doesn't have an OS that they can have their own overlay in there that operates. So you for $100 or less, you can have your you can have access to Xbox. Again, Xbox now does not mean console, does not mean PC, does not mean anything. It's all the same. It's all one piece. Because that's how they're branding it. It's Xbox is Xbox, whether it's on the cloud, it's on this console, or it's on that console, or it's on their phone or on your PC. It's just considered Xbox because of licensing. That's why they're doing it like that. That's why there's no Xbox Live anymore, or not Live, but Xbox Cloud. They just called it the cloud, just to kind of, it's in beta, because it's going to just be considered Xbox. All of it, no matter where you play, how you play, it's considered Xbox. Again, it's for licensing, so that way you license the Xbox, it doesn't matter what generation it is. This is why these are called a Series X and a Series S. It's still Xbox. The Series is just a side information of, okay, this is something, to signify the differences between these two. That's all it is. It's straight up Xbox. And doing that will help get access for easier, because again, who's going to afford $1,000 phone? If you can buy a $900 $100
you
can buy a $100 device that does the same thing, that has the same amount of power, that give you that information, because the power won't be in the device. It'll be partially in the device and partially from the cloud. So it's a good thing. I like the vision. I like, the future is there, and it's just
if it can do what your phone does for like $100 price point, that's going to revolutionize the phones, because right now with the price points that they have, like, that's insane.
I think it's going to be more of a niche of what your phone can do, a small percentage of what your phone can do. It'll be the power without the access to cell phone. It will be the power without access to any other apps other than PlayStation. So it'll be that more so so it'll be a dedicated device more so than an all-in-one device like our phones are.
Are we ready, guys?
Yes, we are.
All right.
the spotlight this week. I'm hoping the audio works because the settings on this are different, and so like it says I'm sharing, but then there's like a toggle, and I don't know. It stays the same color regardless. I don't know if it's on or off, so we'll find out. All right, but for those of you who are fans of Hyper Light Drifter, I got you the newest game from the same from the creator of that Hearts Machine. So here you go. Check it out.
Continue down this path, and you will suffer, like me. Your every move intensifies my pain. Your blind ambition, all your good intentions. Everything you touch turns to ash!
Love the music. Style.
Your grief has made you blind. You can't save anyone. Not even yourself.
That looks awesome, Terry.
So we got Solar Ash. Like I said, it's from the same devs that brought you Hyper Light Drifter. So you got that same kind of art style going on there. This is an action adventure that's going to play. This is basically if you were to take like, I don't know, like Tony Hawk and Shadow of the Colossus and smack them together. This is what you kind of get. And so go ahead and check it out. Now it's not a very long game. It's probably about a 10-hour game. So this is something that you can, invest some time in while you're waiting for your next big anticipated game to come out, and have some good fun. It's all about high speed. It's all about defying gravity. And you got some platforming challenges in there. You got some really big bosses, like Shadow Colossus kind of style bosses on there, and it does have some light puzzles as well. So go ahead and check this out. Now, this is normally a $40 game. However, it is available officially as of like a couple days ago on Game Pass.
That's right. And there's a Steam sale going on as well right now, guys.
There is. It is 50% off on Steam. So if you'd rather enjoy this on PC, you can get it half price, or you can enjoy it on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass on PC, you can still enjoy it on PC that way too. And then it is available as well on the other console platforms if that's more your speed. But yeah, go ahead and go ahead and check it out. So have some fun.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry about that absence, guys. As the crew knew, I was getting a very, very important phone call this morning. So I'm sorry I missed the last 15 minutes of this show. But let's check in with the chat. Hopefully I'll find out what you guys were talking about. Lost Boomer joins us. Shout out to Lost Boomer. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, and you are the real MVP. Let's see who else we got here. I know Graphic God stepped in right as I stepped out. So shout out to Graphic God, who did all the beautiful graphics on this show. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Be sure to check out his website, xboxgamerpicks.com, and order your gamer pick, and he'll get you one just as sweet as mine. This is amazing work, guys. Let's see. Yep, some people got to go. It is a very long show. There was a lot of leaks, guys. We don't usually get this big of news. So it is a very, very long show, as we all have very big thoughts on what happened out there. And again, sorry about that I had to leave, guys. I had to take that phone call. So let's move the show right along. Sorry. Before we move the show, we had a hybrid a bird poll. Terry.
Bird. Oh my gosh. Okay, so are you looking forward to the hybrid console? 52% yes, I need the power of the cloud. 38% are still undecided, and 9% said no, I don't have great internet.
There you go. There's still some people that might be alienated, but Microsoft sees a connected future. And Princess Zelda says what we all say: graphic art is insanely talented. Yes, incredibly talented. Absolutely.
Yep. Even my Dreadpool dude right here you're looking at, that is designed by Graphic God.
You're telling me that's not you?
That is not me. This handsome ruggedness is covered up by the mask and everything else.
There you go. All right, so let's get on to the leaks. Moving off the hardware now, onto the games. And this should be a shorter topic, as I say that, but we'll see. We spent 2.5 hours talking about hardware. Let's see how long it takes us to talk about games.
They're good.
Up first, we're going to talk about something we all said and we all shared, was frustration with the Xbox first-party big AAA lineup. Between delays and everything else, it is bad. So this is May 7th, 2022. So remember, original Starfield Day was November something 2022, November 6th. 11/11. That's what it was. 11/11. Right? So it says, with the news that Starfield is going to miss holiday, not broadly communicated yet, let's let Jamie manage that. Still not a ton of clarity on the launch date of Redfall and Stalker 2 in development, so impacted by the war in Ukraine. I feel we are in a huge hole with our games lineup, both for platform marketing differentiation and our Game Pass content. Absolutely. We keep talking about a bit AAA a quarter in the service. That might be a spelling. Yeah. A AAA game per quarter in the service, and it feels like we are likely going to go through a gap of almost 16 months between big exclusive launches on our platform. Halo Infinite being our last on December 8th, 2021. This is really a disaster situation for us, given all we've invested in content across studios, across our Game Pass content fund. We need to learn from this and build a platform forward. In terms of learning, all this other stuff, if you guys want to read it. But here it is, guys. So the last big AAA game was Halo Infinite. Between Halo Infinite from Xbox and Bethesda Games Studios, we got Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, as Dust Falls, but I think that was third party, right?
I believe that's third party.
Yeah. What else did we get? Jesus, why can't I think right now?
Psychonauts 2? Ages of Empire 4?
What? Oh, yeah, Age of Empires 4. Yeah, that could be considered AAA, as that is a big strategy game.
Forza Horizon 5?
Like a huge one, right? The hugely marketed one.
Flight Sim?
But no, Flight Sim launched on PC. It just transitioned to Xbox. And you know that I have a problem with them launching differently on PC than with Xbox. You know that. So Phil Spencer himself, by the way, if you want to email Phil Spencer, his email's right here, not blacked out or anything. I can't believe they didn't black anybody's emails out. Maybe I should, just for politeness. Here we go. So that was a problem, but given that problem, guys, given the drought, we are now seeing a lot of great games. Even though Hi-Fi Rush wasn't considered big AAA, it was a great success for those of us that enjoyed it. I know Doggy Dog met the love of his life in what's her name? Cinnamon? What's your love's name over there, Doggy Dog? Tell me again. I think her name is Cinnamon.
Toast Crunch.
Of his life, his gaming bay, if you will. And we've had a lot of ports from the PC coming to Xbox, which is fantastic. And Halo Infinite is now also getting into the multiplayer groove, if you will. And so things are I think, since this email is coming up through. Doing this from memory, from summer 2021 through December 21, we had an amazing lineup of games with Flight Sim to console, Psychonauts 2, you were right, Dreadpool, Age 4, Forza Horizon 5, and Halo. There were good third-party games in that time frame as we go back for Blood, blah, 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 so forth and so on. But yeah, they need big first-party launch. And there we go. It wasn't Cinnamon, it's Peppermint. Peppermint was her name, yeah. Doggy Doug's he's in love. So yeah, guys, do you think now that Xbox is starting to finally get their groove? We're getting Starfield, we're getting Forza, possibly Hellblade or Avowed next year. Do you think we're starting to see that that vision of a AAA every quarter? Dread.
Yes, I think it'll start. I think the pandemic threw it off, but it also helped build it up. If you think about it, you know what I mean. It caused a lack of, because it backed everything up. But because everything got backed up, now they can actually have more time to work on it. And now, instead of trying to push it out there and getting games like Redfall, which they trusted them too much and held them to a date, and kind of didn't help them out as much, which they did go, and because of that lesson learned, make sure that Starfield came out proper as best they could. So they definitely went and helped them out, which is the same thing with Ninja Theory. They got a huge jump in personnel there, and I'm sure Xbox is making sure that they have the help that they need to make sure that the console version goes as smooth as possible. And they even had a post up 2 days ago saying nothing beats getting everyone together to play through the game. So that could be the next big one that's going to be announced during the what the heck's that one called, towards the end of the year, the Video Games Awards. Keighley's video.
Yeah, the Video Game Awards.
Yeah, the Video Game Awards.
Yeah.
So and that's usually where they've shown Ninja Theory's Hellblade 2. So it seems like if that's gonna pop out, then you got something there. So with Starfield coming out this quarter, maybe that'll be coming out this next quarter or the following quarter. Yeah. Well, we got Forza Horizon coming out soon, or Forza Motorsport, the new one.
Yes,
we got that one coming out.
Cannot wait.
So maybe this will be next year, early 2024. So maybe I'll get Hellblade for my birthday. So we'll see what happens. Hellblade.
You never know. You never know, Dread.
Yeah, you never know. I got monetized on my birthday.
That's right.
So yeah, let's see what happens. Maybe I'll get Forza on my birthday.
That's right.
Oh no, not a Forza.
Dreadful became an official social media influencer on his birthday. So
I'm a social media nobody. Are you kidding me?
He's a he's an SSI, SMI, social media influencer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you feel that like there's this good feeling and a big optimism with Xbox fans, Terry, where now we're going to start getting all these games. Now I know you're more of an indie personality and a narrative gamer, Terry, but do you feel that your needs are going to start to be met now moving forward? Do you see the light at the end of the tunnel as we do?
For my needs?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because
no,
you're not always a gamer.
No, because no. I mean, they've got a lot of developers and stuff making projects, but I feel like majority of them aren't really going to appeal to me. Like, for example, like Hellblade, I have zero interest in that game.
That is like a narrative-driven action-adventure game. You would love it.
No, I hate it. I played the first one. I hated it. I don't know. Like, I'm more RPG. So like, they don't really have anything that's first party for RPG that's coming out. So they don't really have anything for me. That's why I'm mostly a third party gamer, because it's just this, they lack in that. They have their shooters, and they have Forza for their racing and stuff, and they have some action adventure stuff. But like, when it comes to RPGs, Microsoft doesn't have anything for me.
They are the home of the Western RPG.
Yeah, now they have Bethesda, but even Bethesda, they have Starfield right now. They're not going to be launching anything else anytime soon.
Yeah, Avowed is an
You know?
RPG. Wasteland 3 was an RPG. What else did they have?
Yeah, and I'm not holding my breath for Avowed because I seen what they like, okay.
The Outer
I
Worlds.
hate it.
The Outer Worlds was
When it
fantastic.
comes to Fallout,
Yes.
New Vegas is like the fan favorite that people love. That's my most hated out of the Fallouts outside of 76. Okay, I hated New Vegas. When they made Outer Worlds, hated it. So I'm not expecting Avowed to be any different. So I'm just not a fan of what they put out. What is it? Obsidian. I'm not a fan of what Obsidian puts out. So it's just, I don't know. It's just, there isn't really anything for me for first party. That's why I don't care about first party. I'm a third party gamer.
Okay, so
because neither platform,
Ubisoft. I'm just kidding, Terry.
You know, it doesn't matter what platform it is. None of them make a first party game that gets me excited. Not a single one of them. So it's
Okay. I think Dreadful, is Xbox meeting your needs?
No.
Xbox first party, I mean. At the light at the end of the tunnel. The upcoming lineup.
No. There's no upcoming AR. No, I'm kidding. I'm cool with it. I barely have enough time to play as it is. So yeah, it's one of those. It'd be nice if I had more time, but yeah, I think overall the not knowing certain games are coming out. You got to remember, I'm not going to be excited for every game. Like I wasn't excited for Starfield. Avowed is not another game I wasn't excited for. I'm still not excited for it, but I'm happy for those that are excited.
Like stabbing me in the heart. These panel members, they're just like, ugh.
But at least I'm excited for it, and I ended up getting hyped for Starfield. The closer it got, and the more information we got, the more the closer we got, and then I ended up liking it. So who knows? I may play Avowed and actually like it. But again, there are certain games that will not hit everybody the same way, and it's good that they have a variety. Pentiment, that was a game that nobody wanted, and nobody knew that they wanted.
To me.
I'm just
look, if Microsoft got Recore 2, or if we got a a Wasteland 4, then I would have something to get excited for. Okay, they're not doing that. Okay, they're not doing that.
Oh my.
But that's the thing. You it might not hit for you, but there might be another game that might hit for you. So, and that's the beauty of them doing a variety of stuff. I mean, Song of the South, right? Song of the South, is that the one?
No, South of Midnight.
South of Midnight. There you go.
Yes.
Song of the South. That's a Disney movie.
Like,
Wrong one. Try that again. But no, South of Midnight, that looks really cool. And it's nothing like what they did before, as far as we can tell through what they've shown us. Right. So again, it's hopefully they don't listen to the public and make the game that they want to make, and not listen to too many naysayers and make a game that didn't fit them. You know what I mean? So there's so many games that they have in the works. I mean, we're still waiting for Perfect Dark. Where is that? We haven't seen nothing. I mean, we've seen recent stuff for Fable, which I'm happy for. I can't wait to play that game.
Perfect Dark is something for me to get excited for. But again, nothing on that.
Right. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to stagger a lot of these bigger ones to like, hey, here's something, and then dead silence because they got other things to talk about. So again, it's just a whole bunch of, I'd rather get more hi-fi rushes than not have anything, or have something huge that we're waiting for years upon. So give me another hi-fi rush style game of basically Shadow Drop, something good that we didn't see coming. Give that in between, and give us the, like I said, they gave us Pentiment, they gave us these other ones that most people didn't ask for, but those that played either loved it or hated it. But at least those that loved it weren't expecting it. They weren't expecting to love it. They were like, this is ridiculous. I don't like this graphic style. And then it's like, oh, I got sucked up into it. So I've played games like that on Game Pass where it's like, but it ended up being stupid fun. I had fun doing no mind-boggling anything, and I just enjoyed myself playing the game, and it wasn't like something I would recommend everybody play, but in turn, I wasn't recommended it. It was one of those things to play, and I got hooked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got hooked on Starfield. I was excited for it. It just depends on what happens. I want them to put those little titles out for everybody else that's not into the bigger games. I want those little games to pop out that will get Terry excited. You know, and again, maybe some of us would get excited too because we weren't expecting it. We weren't expecting how good it might be because it's not our type of game that we would normally play. But with Game Pass and obviously the community we're in, we all talk and it's like, hey, this is actually a good game. What? Really? I'll try it out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm sure Doggy Dog here, you know, when Hi-Fi Rush came out, Hi-Fi Rush is incredible. Highly recommended if you haven't played it and finished it. I'm sure Doggy Dog wasn't expecting to meet the love of his life, Peppermint, when he played Hi-Fi Rush. So 2 things got shadow dropped on Doggy right there. Chael Walker comes in and he says, Avowed is RPG. Yeah. Lost Boomer says Persona. Terry going to play them?
No, I have
there you
zero
go.
interest in Persona.
Persona
Zero.
says
No.
Same here. 0.
Xbox first party plus Game Pass have been more than enough for me to find a game. Absolutely.
Yes.
Sorry, stabbing you in the heart, Axel. Everybody's gonna like what you gonna like, bud. Yeah, that's why they stab me in the heart. Be more like me, guys.
Then,
no.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Doggy. I'm gonna break your heart. I tried Hi-Fi Rush. I love the art style, and I do like rhythm games, but I couldn't get into that one. I don't like being forced to do timing. So that's not for me.
Yeah, but Hi-Fi Rush had a
accessibility modes.
Yeah, well, not just that, but it had forgiveness in timing compared to other games that I've played that had timing.
Yeah, even still, I feel like I want to play the game, you know, defaulted. I shouldn't have to dumb it down to enjoy it.
There you go. Is anyone excited for Phantom Liberty? Yes. And yeah, in Hi-Fi Rush, to be good at it, you got to get the timing down. And if you're not good at getting the timing down, then yeah, you're not going to have a good time. So, talking about the timeline here for games, here we go. So, only the Bethesda...
I can't see it. It's too tiny.
Only the Bethesda games got leaked. So, take this for what it is, guys. So, title release schedule, fiscal year 2020, right? Doom Eternal came out. Elder Scrolls Online, Greymoor came out. Fallout Wastelands came out. Deathloop came out. Fallout Shelter Online, and Project Whirlwind, whatever that is.
Didn't the Shelter one already come out?
Starfield was supposed to come out. It didn't come out till 2023. So start pushing these games down 2 years, guys.
So now you see how old this information leak is.
Yeah. Absolutely. Elder Scrolls Online expansion, Redfall, again, 2021, came out in 2023.
So did the Elder Scrolls Online expansion came out in 2023. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, did they have another one before that?
Ghostwire Tokyo came out. Project Hibiki, whatever that is. Project Wonder and Project Ubu. Jez Gordon has more information on what these are. I don't know if he said it.
Isn't Hibiki the Hi-Fi Rush?
I think you're right. That might have been Hi-Fi Rush, and it came out in early 2022. And again, fiscal years, they're about 6 months ahead of us, guys. So when we say this is supposed to come out in 2021, it could have came out in the first 6 months of 2021, right? Fiscal, and they do that for tax reasons. It's all about taxes, guys. So in fiscal year 2022, which we're already in fiscal year 2023, Indiana Jones was supposed to come out. Here's a big one: Oblivion Remastered. Elder Scrolls Online, another expansion, the DLC for Starfield, and 3 more planned titles. So let's stop right here, because now we're getting into the haven't come out yet territory. Indiana Jones game was supposed to be already out, and it is not out.
But that's also when they announced the release that there was a game.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Oh, and here we go. Everybody's verifying what you said. Hibiki is Hi-Fi Rush. That's Hi-Fi Rush, and Hibiki was Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah. So if anybody knows what Project Ubu and Project Wanderer are, please let us know. I did memorize what these are, but this I can't remember everything for some reason. I should have written it down. I'll do better next time, guys. I'm sorry.
Was that
So, yeah.
record? Wanderer? I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding.
So Oblivion Remaster. Is anybody psyched for Oblivion Remaster? Now, I didn't play the original Oblivion. I got into Elder Scrolls on Skyrim, and my friend though played Oblivion for over 120 hours.
Nice.
And this is back in the OG Xbox when you could carry that memory stick with you. It had the hard drive, but he kept his save on his memory stick, and he would carry that thing like it was gold. And like that was like the one thing he refused to lose was his Oblivion save. So anybody here excited for the Oblivion remaster? Dreadpool.
I'm semi excited. I used to love that game. I played it back in the day. That was one of the games that I was like pushing on everybody else, and because it was a single player game at the time, we're all playing everything else. Rainbow Six, and I got friends to go from Halo to Rainbow Six back in those days, but I couldn't get them to go over to Oblivion. But yeah, it was just different gameplay, different style from what everybody was used to, with my crew. And I was like one of the only ones playing it, and I liked it. A remaster would be great. Even when they made it BC, I went back and played a little bit. Realized how fond my memory was and how lacking it truly was. So, I mean, not lacking in a bad way, but lacking graphically and control wise. I think they could have had better controls. And but yeah, I mean, you remember GoldenEye, how bad the controls were, but we adapted and became proficient at it.
Yes.
So I think this will be one of those that hopefully if they update the quality of life for a lot of things, it would be great to do that with this, update the graphics, and I think it'll be a nice go back. I just see them as more of a remaster than a remake. So with that being said, they'll probably just clean up the graphics, and everything will probably be the same game. Maybe, just maybe, they will update the controls a little bit to fine tune it a little bit better. But yeah, I'll play it. I'm not gonna go out and buy it like I would have before, but it is what it is. I got into this one more than I got into Skyrim, and I know how everybody loves Skyrim.
Skyrim's so fantastic.
I've played. I don't know how many times I've started, and I can't get into it. I think it's because of the slow start with the carriage and the horse and running around. Then all of a sudden I'm over encumbered as I'm trying to escape.
You don't have to carry everything.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
This is an RPG there, Cool Cat Terry. Oblivion
I've been there, done
Remaster. Are you looking forward to it?
I've been there, done that. Oblivion is a fantastic game. I do recommend it. It's just I'm very selective when it comes to my remasters, and I don't really have any interest in going back and playing Oblivion. So it's but it is a great game. I feel like they should be focused more on bringing, if they're going to do a remasters on the Elder Scrolls stuff, they should be picking the older titles that people haven't played.
Yeah, because Oblivion is Elder Scrolls 3, isn't it? No, 3 is Morrowind.
Yeah, it's the fourth one.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion, yeah.
So yeah, they should have done, Morrowind, I think would have been a better choice, or even do like the first two, because like I feel like most people I've encountered that are Elder Scrolls fans never even played the first two.
Right.
So
but those would have to be real full remakes, not even remasters.
So like they should be bringing those back, or at least just remaster Morrowind, because that's the one that fans ask for the most is Morrowind. So that's where they should have gone. Maybe they're planning on just going backwards. They got 50 versions of Skyrim, so now let's go back and do Oblivion, and then we'll go back and do Morrowind. Who knows? We'll have to see. But if you haven't played Oblivion, the remaster would be a great opportunity for you, because it is a very, very good game.
Okay. And that leads right into where I'm at. I have not played it, so I am now going to wait for the remaster, because
yeah,
I can.
One of the most iconic things about Oblivion is you jump everywhere you go, so you can build up your athletic skill.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
So you just get used to just jumping constantly.
It was also the first Bethesda game, PC game, to come to console.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely for those who who have not
Mhm.
played it, if the remaster is true to come out, wait for the remaster. But if you can't wait for the remaster and you maybe this kind of like struck a chord with you, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. You can try it now, but I would definitely wait for the remaster, like Terry says. And yeah,
Yeah.
definitely jump everywhere you go.
Everywhere. You jump, climbing up a mountain. You jump everything.
Jump into the water. Jump.
Jump,
killing
jump.
those little mini crabs. Those giant
Yes.
crabs.
And for those of you that so yeah, I think they should have started with like full remakes, of the Elder Scrolls Arena, the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, and Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. For those of you that haven't played it, but yeah,
Yeah.
Arena might be a little weak, but Daggerfall is probably pretty strong.
Yeah, I would love to see them do that a la Resident Evil,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, please redo your combat. Please, for the love of God, redo your combat. Okay, here we go. Checking in with the chat. Shout out to Lady Foxfire who joins us. Thank you so much for joining us, Lady Foxfire. You are the real MVP. And she is interested in Doom Year 1, and the new IPs are Doom Year 0. We'll get to it here in a minute. Okay, moving on. Indiana Jones game. We've seen some of this. Well, we've seen a tease for it. Terry, the tease to Indiana Jones.
No. Like I've said before, I'm not an Indiana Jones fan.
Yeah, I'm in your boat.
I might still try it,
if they
just
can't
for
get
the
that whip
gameplay.
down,
If
it
the
is a
gameplay
fail.
is fun, I'll try it. Just like Star Wars. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I still play some of the games occasionally if the gameplay is fun.
Mhm.
So if they can get me with the gameplay, I'll play it. It's just I'm not playing it because it's Indiana Jones.
Right. Dreadful Indiana Jones.
Whip it good. So yeah, I mean, give me some classic indie. I mean, yeah, I mean,
don't you have already Indiana Jones games in Tomb Raider and what is that? Uncharted.
Yeah, but that Indiana Jones is where it all started from, and the Pitfall Harry and Laura and all that followed suit. So, but yeah, no, we need to have another good Indiana Jones. I played the original Xbox version one that they made, and holy cow, the controls so bad.
Yes, exactly. So bad.
So bad. But the game is good considering its age, and we need a good one. We need something that when I'm thinking about this Indiana Jones, I literally picture them in the bazaar and where he pulls out the whip and the other guy pulls out that sword and he just he just pulls out the gun and shoots him and then walks away. And little known fact, Harrison Ford was sick. He didn't feel like doing the fight scene, so he just ad-libbed that and then walked away, and then they just kept it in the film. They're like, you know what, this is perfect. I'm like, see, Han shot first again. But that's what I picture. I picture that scene, and if we can get into the higher graphical definition with today's quality of life controls, this is going to be a great game. And then obviously they got to have a good story for it, so you just can't be this and that. And
it's gonna be the Crystal Skull.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Ironically, I've yet to see the newest one, and I'm such a huge fan. I don't know why I've yet to go out of my way to go see it, but I'm excited for this game.
Yeah, I think you're on your own there. I'm definitely not excited for it. So, but as you said, I'll see. Maybe the FOMO will hit once they actually show us something other than a teaser. This might be akin to like Starfield for you. All right, we got a lot of games to get through. Let's keep going. We got Doom Year 0. Yes. Terry, Doom Year 0.
No, hard pass. Not for me.
Oh man. Dreadful Doom Year 0.
Yes, for little known fact for you guys, year 0 is where your guy is just an average Joe, kind of like think of Captain America before he got the super serum, and you're going to play around half the game like that until you become a Marine and full-fledged, jacked guy, more jacked than the Rock,
Doom
and
guy.
just Doom guy.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding about all that. Year 0, I think they're just going to start over, which is why 0. And then kind of go from there. I'm curious to see it. I'm not going to sit
So like
there.
rebooting the franchise.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
Because I think they've gotten to the point of where the game is set up. That they just need to reboot it and start fresh and kind of like restart a whole retelling of the story. Kind of like how Mortal Kombat 1 decided to do that too.
I think this is great. I feel like Doom Year Zero is gonna be a prequel, as the title suggests. Because if you watch comic books, there's Batman Year One, Superman Year One, blah blah blah, right? So they're going, you know what? We're gonna go back even more. Doom Year Zero. We're gonna go back to Doom Guy's daddy. So yeah, no. Doom Year Zero to me.
Is that Duke
before he
Nukem?
became the Doom Slayer?
I was going to be back when he was just Doom Boy.
Doom Boy, that's right. He's going to be Doom Teenager, Teen Doom.
Is this where they bring in Duke Nukem? Who's your daddy?
My God, please don't.
Who wants some?
Who wants some? All the corny. He's going to be talking with Gen Z talk.
He's going to be. He's going to be
like, that kill was bussing.
Oh no! Don't dare! Don't no.
He's going to be talking to Doom Guy when he was a boy. Hey boy, who's your daddy?
No, don't do that.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
Let's go into the club.
Jacob Novak, Doom in the womb. That's right. He's going to cut his way out.
It's reverse Alien.
That's right. So I am very excited. I love the pace of Doom. I love the whole art style of Doom. Doom in itself is a IP that has lived a long time. So yeah, I'm very, very, very excited for Doom Year Zero. I cannot wait. I just and the soundtrack. I know that they're not going to work with what's his name? Was it Mick? Mick something, right? What's the guy that did the soundtrack to Doom guy? To Doom 2016 soundtrack composer. His name is Mick Gordon. There we go. I know that they're no longer going to work with Mick Gordon, who did all the Doom awesome music and half of the Doom Eternal music. So we'll see who they get to replace him, because that sound is iconic. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Neftorious comes in saying, I actually liked the Doom that was more of a survivor horror. Doom 3, I think. Yeah. The Doom 3 on the OG Xbox.
I just didn't like the flashlight thing where you're limited, but I understand.
And Dragon Heart Yobi with his own Gen Z talk. That was so cringe. Dreadful, don't ever say that again.
It was awful.
That's right.
Got a couple dollars.
I'm actually wondering if one of the planned titles is the next Wolfenstein, because we are due for a new one.
Yes. Well, I mean, we don't know what Machine Games is working on. It could be Project Kestrel or Project Platinum, something like that, right? So we're moving on then. So that's how we feel about Doom. And then we got Elder Scrolls 6, which was supposed to come out next year, but everything has moved down 2 years. So we're looking at least 2 years. Now 2025, I think. So the Elder Scrolls 6, of course, I'm excited for it. Hopefully they redo some of the combat and they get that Creation Engine 2.0 to be more amazing and more immersive than it ever has been. So Elder Scrolls 6, I think, has a big leap to go because this whole loading just doesn't work anymore. Everything needs to be seamless now. Or at least make the loading screen, crawling through the space or whatever. Do something, Bethesda. Do something with your engine. Is all I'm saying. But if they do that, Elder Scrolls 6, I think, is going to be amazing because it's going to have, again, all the great Bethesda flavor RPG where decisions matter and affect the outcome of the game, and who fights you, who doesn't fight you, so forth and so on. So Elder Scrolls 6, of course, looking amazing. Terry, Elder Scrolls 6, are you going to play it?
Heck yeah. I really enjoy the Elder Scrolls games, so I'm definitely going to play it.
All right.
Definitely. Whenever it comes out.
Does it need to be seamless for you to enjoy it?
No, Elder Scrolls games have all been janky, so I'm expecting jankiness.
It's part of the charm, the Elder charm.
It's part of the brand, jankiness. So even Starfield is janky. So I mean, it's Bethesda. So bring on the jankiness.
Dreadpool.
Jinkies,
Elder Scrolls. Jinkies, not jinkies, janky.
No, I'm excited to see it. We'll see what happens if I get into it. I think I will, only because I skipped over Skyrim and fell in love with Starfield. So I think I'll definitely get back into it again.
Yeah.
And now that we're talking about Skyrim again, I'm thinking about trying to start it all over and
do it one more time, and this time just keep going.
There's literally nothing worth picking up really when you first start.
I know, but it's just one of those things. It's like if you can pick it up, you pick it up.
Spoons do you need to grab? Like, come on, like just leave it.
Hey man, some people like the spoon.
They were in short. They were very valuable back in the day. Fallout 3 remaster, that could be something. So
Fallout 3 was a great game. I really enjoyed it. Definitely my favorite of the Fallouts, but I don't know. I feel like I don't want to go back.
All right, so Terry's played it, been there, done that. She's not playing
been there, done that. I'm moving forward. All right,
Dreadpool, are you going to play the remaster?
Nah.
No. I will actually play the remaster.
I couldn't get into it.
This one, so yeah. As long as it comes out again, updated, really nice.
I got a
Ghostwire Tokyo sequel for you horror fans. So we're going to go to Dreadpool, as I know you're a horror fan. Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get some more. Ironically, I've yet to play the first Ghostwire. I just haven't had time.
He's a fake horror fan.
No, well, I just haven't had time. I watched people play it and was like, all right, cool. But I just haven't had time to get into it. And that was one of the ones that I wanted to stream. I wanted to be like, all right, now that it's over, all the hype is over. Everybody's moved on from it. I wanted to go back in there and start streaming it and kind of go from there on my own. And unlike Deathloop, I haven't played it. I played Deathloop, and it was okay game. It was all right, but it just got boring. So hopefully I don't get bored with this one, and I can keep going.
So Neftoria says you just need a good mod list for Skyrim, Dreadpool. Yeah,
I need a mod list on the Xbox.
Yeah, you just need that time that
they do have mods on the Xbox version. So.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Terry, Ghostwire Tokyo.
Nope.
Yeah, I haven't played the first one. I might try it. Keyword here being might, but it's not high on my backlog, so I may never play it. So this one is kind of neither here nor there. But you know what is there? Dishonored 3, baby. Heck yeah. Assassinating with powers. It is a fantastic game. If you haven't played Dishonored 1 and Dishonored 2, you are doing yourself a disservice. Okay? So definitely looking forward to Dishonored 3. Get back to what instead of that getting Arcane Games back to what they know. Dishonored 3, give it to me. I cannot wait. Terry.
No. I don't know. I haven't played 2. I only tried 1, and I tried it on 2 different occasions. I just could not get into it at all.
You just haven't been killing people creatively.
I don't know. Like, I love stealthy games. I play a lot. I do. Like, I should love Dishonored, but I don't know what it is about Dishonored. I just could not get into it at all. I don't know. I don't know if it's the setting or if it's the character. It's probably the character. I think I just find him disinteresting. I don't know. There's something about it that I couldn't get into the first one. So because of that, I never bothered with the second one.
Okay.
Maybe I should try going back to it for the third time, and maybe I'll like it now. I might like it now. I mean, that's happened with other games where at the time when they were the hotness, I couldn't get into them, and then years later I go back, and then it's like I've grown enough to where I can enjoy it. So who knows?
All right. Dribble, Dishonored 3.
Well, let me tell you something.
Confirmed.
Let me tell you something here. I was on the same boat like Cool Cat Terry, or I just couldn't get into it. I don't know what was going on. I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't get into the series, and I ended up buying the series, which is
Buying it. Oh, okay. The Dishonored collection.
Yeah, I did that. So I have no idea what was going on with it. I just don't know why. I just couldn't get into it. And luckily they had one of those spots where you can do it for reward points.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. I ended up, and then, to the point where I got to, I ended up getting stuck into it. And what it was is I finally figured out how to play the game. It is a different. I was playing it as if it was a standard FPS.
No.
And that's
You gotta
why
kill
I
people
could
creatively.
not get. I
Yeah,
know.
see,
that's why I couldn't get into it.
I went into it because I really like Thief, and I don't know, people for whatever reason people didn't get into when they brought Thief back. They didn't like the new one. I liked it a lot, so I played Dishonored like Thief, from sneaking around, trying to stay high and go in places and steal and stab from behind. And I don't know, I couldn't get into it. I feel like that's the way you're supposed to play it.
Yeah, I started doing the teleportation stuff. I started doing a little bit more, and that's when it clicked with me. Because like I said, I was originally playing it as a standard FPS. I go here, and I'm like, how the heck am I supposed to sneak past these two guys without killing anybody? These two guys are like in the perfect place that you can't do anything.
Yes.
And it's, how am I supposed to do this? And then finally, I still haven't beaten that part of it to do it like that. But at the same time, I got into it a little bit more, and I was like, oh, okay. It clicked, and I started liking the game. So again, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to play it, but I still got to play the original ones first and kind of go from there. I just haven't had a chance to.
I can tell you right now that the sequel is way better than the first one. So
I can't remember if I played Death of Dishonor.
Oh, the expansion.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was I played that got me sucked into it. But I played 2 and the expansion, and one of those 2 got me sucked into it.
Are the stories like linked, or is it one of those franchises where you can literally just play any of them and they're
you can kill main characters and you won't get their side quest.
That's not what I mean. Like, are they true sequels of each other where the storylines merge, or are they their own standalone game? They're just Dishonored and
so you don't play the same character in the second one. But the characters are connected. I just can't remember how.
And is it sequential in the timeline, or do they do some Zelda nonsense where they're jumping around constantly and you can't make sense of where you are?
I think it's sequential. I want to say it is because in the first one you play in the city of Dunwell, right? As Corvo. And I think Corvo is in Dishonored 2.
Okay.
Look it up now.
That's more my thing. I hate it when games do that, where you play the one game and then the next game's a prequel and then the next game is like 1,000 years later and you don't. It's just why.
Okay, so you can play as either Corvo Attano, and let's see, Corvo Attano. Yeah, so Corvo Attano is a bodyguard to the Empress of the Isles. And in the second one, the Empress gets killed, and they're trying to frame you for it and your daughter. So, yeah, I do think it is sequential, just based on that knowledge.
Yeah, as far as I recall, it is sequential. But again, like you said, different characters. Because
kind of like Fable, because Fable, it's always a different hero.
Yeah.
But yes.
There you go. So, Eternal Shaddai says, if it was Dishonored Mud Mortarfest, Terry would have said yes to that real quick. So funny. And Dreadpool, some advice from Shaddai. If you decide to sneak out of your house without your wife noticing it, you will be horrible about it. You can't sneak. Please don't sneak out of the house. There you go.
just have to wait for her to go to
That's
sleep.
it for the leaks that I want to talk about here. So, looking great on the leaks from the Bethesda front, in my opinion. Oh, whoops, wrong button. Looking great from the leaks on the Bethesda front, in my opinion. But yeah, to me, Game Pass and Xbox are meeting my first party, are doing what they want to keep me subscribed, what they need to do. But Terry, how does the chat feel about the games Xbox is providing?
Okay, are you optimistic about Xbox's future lineup? 68%, yes, they're making the games I want. 18% said that I haven't thought about it, and 12% said that the games aren't for me.
All right, well, there you go. Not everybody is the same. Not everybody is the same. And shout out to Splendiferous. He says, Axel, this is great. The show should be this long every Sunday morning. Oh, man. I don't know about that.
That's because Splendiferous always misses the first half.
Oh, called out. Oh,
Maybe Splendiferous needs to show up earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Inspired. Don't listen to these naysayers, Splendiferous. You show up whenever you want, buddy. I think you're still the MVP. Oh, man. I'm not really posting that. All right.
We love you,
says,
man.
He's not always late. How dare you, Terry? That's right. Sometimes he's on time. But yeah, let's see. We're gonna get into some acquisition talk and close the show out here. So, as you guys know, the CMA has provisionally approved the Xbox acquisition, which is great. But we're not going to talk about that until the acquisition finally goes through.
Yes.
As we've talked about that acquisition forever. We're going to talk about a different acquisition. So Xbox released, or they leaked a list of acquisition targets. And let me see if I can. I don't think I downloaded this slide. Triple, do you have this slide, the acquisition target slide?
No, I do not.
You know what? It wasn't included in the slides I downloaded. Let me find it real quick.
Oh, let me see if I can find it myself.
Sorry. Let me see. Xbox acquisition targets. Leak.
Here we go.
You found it?
No.
Oh.
I thought it was. It's just top 17, but it's just one slide. That doesn't do us any good.
Xbox leaks. Target.
No, that's not it. Sorry about that. Axel usually is a lot more prepared than this.
Well, no, I was looking at all the slides and I'm like, wait a minute. There was a list. I remember somebody published a list and I'm like, why didn't I get that one? Anyways, on that list was Sega. And others. This was, you know what? Let me just Xbox leaks acquisition targets. Until I find it, let's talk about the one slide I do have, though. Let's talk about, I guess, the big one, Nintendo. Now, this isn't technically Xbox saying that they're going to buy Nintendo, that they're targeting Nintendo. They're just talking about what a great value and great player Nintendo is. If you read the whole email, again, the email was there. They talked about Warner Brothers Interactive and ZeniMax, that they're going to get one or the other. Obviously, they got ZeniMax. But yeah, is Nintendo, but both are for sale and gettable by us if things align. So let's talk about this. Right? Is Nintendo. I love this discussion and value looking forward to the opportunities for here. At some point, getting Nintendo would be a career moment, and I honestly believe a good move for both companies. It's just taking a long time for Nintendo to see that their future exists off their own hardware. A long time. So this is Phil Spencer talking to somebody that, hey, you know what, Nintendo, your hardware sucks.
It does suck.
We'll take care of your games, and everybody can make a lot of money.
I mean,
Now, everybody
Nintendo
laughs
does
at
make a
this
lot of money, though.
because, Nintendo doesn't need to be bought out. They're doing great,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're doing great. So people are having a big laugh about this. But if you're not looking at buying out your competition, are you really a good business person? Let's start with Terry. Terry, give me your thoughts. Nintendo, Xbox. I know you love Nintendo.
Okay, so when it comes to consoles, yeah, they haven't been up to par with everybody else, and that's been like their own kind of flavor. But hardware wise, though, Nintendo is number one when it comes to handhelds. Like no one's been able to compete against the Nintendo handheld. That it's just it always did so well. I don't think they have a handheld anymore currently. Was the 3DS or the what came after the 3DS? I don't even know. But like
the new 3DS.
The new 3DS. So like they always have done very, very well with that. So I mean I could see, that if Xbox wants to get into the handhelds, that would be one way to go about it, I guess, is to get the Nintendo handheld to be their handheld. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, I feel like Nintendo, outside of being super gimmicky with a lot of their stuff, when it comes to their IPs, they've got their Mario, of course, is like a huge success for them, but they kind of have like their own flavor to where it just works for them. Like those kind of family kind of games, when they come out on other platforms, they don't do well. But for whatever reason, it's like a good staple that works for Nintendo, So it's just like an interesting kind of thing about how it works for them, but nobody else, And if Nintendo became like Sega and they just became a publisher, that would be an interesting thing to see. But I don't foresee that happening because, like I said, they have their handhelds making crap tons of money. The Switch sells better than the Xbox.
It's
and
the second highest selling console right
now. And they just opened up a theme park. So, like, I feel like I feel like Nintendo,
a movie.
Yeah, they got movies going. They got a theme park. Like, I feel like Nintendo is at that point where they're not looking at, they're doing their own thing and it's working for them. They're like Lego in the gaming world. You know what I mean? So it's like they're doing their own thing. So I don't foresee an acquisition happening. But it's just I don't know.
Yeah. Dread.
All right.
You have something to say?
Yeah, you got to remember this email was back in 2020. So it's a 3-year-old email that everybody's talking about this. So yeah, this is before all this stuff popped out. And even Phil saying that he doesn't want to do like a hostile takeover. He doesn't want that. He wants a good relationship, even though it would be great in his, for his resume to be able to say that he was able to acknowledge and buy Nintendo where the previous Xbox people could not do that, where they got laughed at. So could you imagine getting laughed at and then all these years later be the guy that were able to bring them in? That would be a huge accomplishment. But for right now, he's already stated that at that time in 2020, he doesn't see it as a good option, and they have a good relationship. They've been building this relationship, and what I think, my opinion is that they're working on, again, trying to build that relationship with Game Pass and streaming to the Switch/Switch 2. So I wouldn't, you don't want to upset somebody as a partner that that you're relying as a partner, because right now they're doing great. They got Cuphead, they got a couple other games over there that was it Ori that were so you got these games that are over there that are doing very well. Minecraft, so you don't want to ruin that partnership, and you want to be able to, yet again, what happened with the hacking engines that they had over here, where they were able to play Mario on the Xbox. They got rid of all that stuff. Obviously, you can still, if you know what to do, you can still do it on the side, but not through the official means through Xbox. So again, this is all stuff that they're looking at. And I see something that I've been saying for a long, long time. There's a certain name in there.
What? WB?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The biggest obstacle in WB is IP ownership. We wouldn't own any of the IP, which hurts long-term flexibility, and is the only obstacle on Zenny is valuation expectations of founders. So yeah, I agree with them not wanting to buy WB if you didn't get any IPs.
But they didn't get it from the table. It's, as far as my understanding, they are still sitting there with WB trying to figure it out. Because at that time, WB wasn't doing so hot. Now they're doing a little bit better. So depending on how the future holds, they could still go back to them. You know, again, they haven't left the table. They just slid the chair back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my understanding, and that's what I'm sticking to. And you can see right here, they were exactly right there.
Mm-hmm.
And no IPs doesn't. You're going to have all these teams with no IPs. There's no value there. I mean, not saying that the devs and the teams that they're going to obtain are without any value. They do have the skills and all that, but the IPs are where the monetary value would be to profit to keep them, because what they would have to do is they would integrate those teams in and then have to be forced to lay off because they wouldn't have enough work for them to do something. And with the IPs, there's enough money there to be brought back. So if they were to get the Warner Brother IPs, that's where the value would be. So it wasn't just the fact that, you know, same thing with ZeniMax. If they were to buy ZeniMax and not have Doom, not have some of the, you know, the other names, not have Starfield, I mean, that's why they bought it. Starfield was one of the key reasons to buy ZeniMax. Think about that. It's working for them. So now if they lost the access to Starfield, what's the worth of buying them? Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, this is all I like this email because he acknowledges that Nintendo and Valve are like the big players where Xbox is not, and they would be great. And he also talked ways about like this is great, you know, for those of you that don't understand who have never been part of high level communications on buyouts. This is great education for you guys. I've been fortunate enough where I've been part of this. And so I know that some of these thoughts are just thoughts. That's just it. It's just people discussing. This means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a pros and cons email. It doesn't mean they're going to target them or anything. But as good business people, hey, if they come up, we're there. We're ready. Like I can almost guarantee you, if Nintendo came up for sale, Xbox would drop the Activision acquisition and go for Nintendo instead. Guaranteed.
But I mean, it's right there in the second line.
Yeah.
I've had numerous conversations with the LT of Nintendo, right?
Mm-hmm.
The leadership team, about tighter collaboration, and feel like if any U.S. company would have a chance with Nintendo, we are probably the best position. Think about that. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point of developing this relationship, right? What happened when ZeniMax and Bethesda sold to Xbox? They had a really good tight relationship. The management there even said, the owners even said, if we were to give it away, we were happy to give it away to Xbox. We were happy to hand everything over to the Xbox platform because they knew they were going to be in good hands. They've developed this rapport with each other as companies. Right?
Yes.
They developed a good friendship. There has never been, I'm sure there has been, but as you know, publicly, there's never been any bad blood between them for any reasons, this and that, right? So when you look at that, it made the most sense for them to go for the betterment of their company to go to Xbox versus anybody else, because you've developed a tight friendship between the companies. You know, Nintendo about tighter collaboration right there. Tighter collaboration. So if ZeniMax has done that and Xbox is still willing to do that versus new startup company, even though it's a huge Microsoft is a huge company, but Xbox was a new startup company saying, "Hey, we want to buy you." Of course, they got laughed out the window. They already knew what was going to happen, and they let them show up so they can laugh in their face. And now look at
Yeah,
where
talk
they're at.
about business petty, you know.
Right?
Oh man,
So,
that's great.
you
Let's
know,
check in with the chat real quick here. Dark Zone says, "Why can't Xbox games be on Switch or PlayStation with this statement?" They are. Minecraft. Look it up. And what else? Ori, Cuphead. They're on those platforms. Yeah, so they are. Let's see. Jacob Novik says the Xbox 3D screen. Yeah. And the Dark Zone is very against the Nintendo partnership, I think. Why would you want Microsoft to own Nintendo just so you why? So you just have Microsoft and Sony, then Sony will be gone and you just have Microsoft. Sorry, I don't want that future. Keep the 3 console makers.
no, I don't want them to be
Yeah,
gone.
we don't want them to be gone. We're
We
just
don't want that.
discussing the leak.
Right. We're discussing that. And even
Yeah.
Phil said he doesn't want that.
Mhm.
But if there's an option, he wants to be that option.
There's
There's a difference there.
There's also the potential, as you know, if that was to happen, it would drive for another company to maybe get into it. Kind of like when Sega went out. Okay. So like it was just, you know, Nintendo and Sega primarily, you know, for the longest time. And then Sega went out, and then, you know, Sony, you know, came in, and you know, Microsoft got involved, and you know, it created opportunity for other companies to try things out. You know, other companies don't want to start out when they have that much competition. So if Nintendo was to merge into, let's say, Microsoft, that opens more opportunity for a new startup company to try it versus just being like there's too much, you know, it's easier to compete against 1 or 2 companies, you know, like then, you know, even more. So
See, but the other thing is Sony didn't fill in the market. It was just those 2 companies going at it.
Mhm.
It was Sega and Nintendo. Sony went in with vengeance. They went in to get revenge because they went in as a partnership for the next console with Nintendo. And when Nintendo backed out and decided to go a different route, as opposed to using Sony's Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, whatever, you know, it was called back then.
Yeah, that's what it
That's
was
why
called,
they came
basically.
out with the PlayStation.
Yep.
And
And at the
who's to
time,
say
Sony was the big dog. You got to remember, Sony was the big bully at the time.
and
And-
who's to say that if Nintendo decided to be, you know, be like the next Sega and just be a publisher and you know, and put their stuff everywhere, or on or
Well,
exclusive to one, that somebody else couldn't, you know,
Well-
create a new platform.
have you heard of Stadia?
Stadia.
They tried it. They failed. They
Yeah,
didn't.
but they
obviously-
didn't. Yeah, but they tried doing it, you know, cloud based. They didn't try making it, you know, they didn't really
No.
do a console.
It wasn't.
Yeah, they were very
it wasn't the
forward-thinking
cloud
again.
based. They were too forward thinking and never delivered on what they promised. They promised more power in teraflops than the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro. They promised more power than that, slightly more power. And at that time, the new gens were already announced coming out for Gen 9. So they were already underpowered. They promised this YouTube integration that never happened. They promised all this stuff that they were going to do that never happened. You had access to all these games. Well, you still had to have the service to access the games. So even if you bought the game, you didn't have the service, you couldn't use the game or play the game that you had. In order to have the service, you had to, with you having a certain level service, you got free games. But again, it's just like Xbox and PlayStation, where if you had the service, these free games were accessible. But if you don't have the service, you don't have access to them. But if you don't have online, you can't do nothing. They had so many different things that they faltered themselves, which they killed themselves. That's the same thing that happened with Sega. Sega brought on distrust upon themselves between the Xbox 32X and then the Sega Saturn being competitive with themselves as opposed to
with Sony.
No, just with themselves, as opposed
Yeah,
to
that's what I
doing.
mean. They only thought about themselves, not about their
Well,
competition, and that was a mistake.
But that was the thing, is America and Japan fought against themselves. America came out with the
Oh yeah,
32X, and Sega Japan said, no, we don't want that. We want to put out a new console, which was the Sega Saturn. They both were 32X or 32 processing, right? So
Mhm.
you had the infighting amongst themselves, and then falling short between the Sega Saturn and then coming out with the Dreamcast. Yeah, they got a lot of hype. They were far advanced on a lot of stuff that they did with Dreamcast, but then their support from us as consumers waned real fast because the console came out and they only had a couple games. They didn't have enough games to support the new launch. And there was a lot of games announced, but they're coming soon. And you only have 1 or 2 games with your launch. I mean, there was certain areas that only got the console and not even a game. So what good is having a console with no game to play? They shot themselves in the foot.
So
and on top of that, with the harsh marketing that Sony did against Sega, really did it to themselves. So there's
I just want to put out this graphic. So just to talk to Dark Zone, right? About him not wanting to. It was Dark Zone, right? Yeah, yeah. Here we go. Dark Zone talking about not wanting to. He wants to keep the big three. Sometimes you have no choice. I mean, take a look at the console manufacturers in November of 1994. And this was your console manufacturers after 2001. Remember, Xbox entered the market in late 2001.
Mhm.
So this was it. All you had was Nintendo and Sony. So, I mean, Xbox came in and they're, everybody makes fun of them that they've always been in third place. They've always been in third place, blah, 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 right? Look how many people were in it. Atari was the big dog. They're out.
Yep.
Sega was the American big dog. They're out. SNK was never a big dog. Fujitsu, NEC, Commodore 64, 3DO, all these guys went out. If we redo the timeline of console manufacturers, you have the Ouya went out since Xbox and Sony and Nintendo. I guess not really a console, but a gaming platform. The Stadia, it came and went. It came almost as fast as it went. So nobody that I know wants any of these companies to go out because they're all great. When Sega left, I was sad. Like, I loved the Dreamcast. I thought the Dreamcast was a very forward-thinking device. And I could never afford all these because they were just so expensive. These guys priced themselves out. Atari lied. They just rested on their laurels. But by the time Sega got their show together and stopped infighting, it was too late. And so, when you guys talk about, the consolidation of the video game market is bad, I agree it is. But let's not pretend that it hasn't happened already. Let's not pretend that this didn't happen already. And, the constant is Nintendo. I mean, when Phil Spencer in his email says that Nintendo is the trendsetter, if you will, he's not lying. The primary asset in gaming today is Nintendo. So yeah, the acquisition talk here, or him just talking about it, giving his thoughts along with TikTok and everything else, and WB and Valve. I don't think there's anything bad about it, about him talking about it. Should he be targeting it? As long as Satya and Amy say be ready, yeah, he should be. And who knows, maybe the CEO after Satya will say, no, we're done investing in gaming. Let's deal with what we have, which has happened before, by the way. That's the problem with being a fan of a big corporation. Then that's why I think Nintendo is such a gem, because they are a gaming company first. Sony is an electronics company first, and Microsoft is a software company first. It's two different beasts, if you will, right? It's three different beasts, and each one of them are doing what they do.
I mean, at the way that things are going right now, though, I mean, they might as well just become a publisher, because that's where we're headed anyway. Because if you think about it, when consoles become obsolete, everybody's just going to be publishing stuff and putting it on whatever app, you know. So
On Steam is going to be the big winner.
yeah, so I mean, right now we're looking at it, as who's making the hardware, but eventually that hardware is going to go away, and it's going to transition into whatever future path we're going to take. So I mean, Nintendo becoming a publisher I feel like that would be the next big step for them to do that. Atari became a publisher, Sega became a publisher, Nintendo could become a publisher, and I think they would be even still more successful, just because people get into Nintendo for the games that they have. No one's like, oh my gosh, I gotta have that console because it's the best console ever, and excited about the console. No, they're excited for the console because Nintendo stuff's on it. They don't care about the console; they just want to play Nintendo stuff.
I don't know, Terry. I love my Switch. I think it's the best console they've ever put out.
Maybe that they put out, but it's not like the best console out there. There's way better options.
No, like it's not the most powerful console for sure, features wise and whatnot.
It's very limited in what it can do.
The experiences you get on the Switch are so unique in comparison to PlayStation and Xbox. I feel like PlayStation and Xbox are the same side are different sides of the same coin, whereas Nintendo is its own coin, right?
Well,
that's the way I feel. And that coin could be worth more to you or worth less. It doesn't matter.
Well, you got to be careful though too, because I brought up Lego, and Nintendo is basically following in Lego's footsteps. And Lego, they had their big theme parks where they had
Legoland.
Stuff. And guess what? Lego ended up, expanding too much, and they almost had to completely go bankrupt, and they had to start downsizing to save the company because they almost went under.
Yep.
So Nintendo, there's, hopefully it doesn't happen, but they've got the theme park now, and they're doing the same stuff. They're literally, I feel like they took Lego's, game plan, and they're just following Lego's game plan with their own flair. So they're, depending on what happens, with the market and the way the world is, because the world's getting more crazy with stuff, and currencies are changing, and people are more focused on being on screens than traveling and going places, that theme park could blow up in their faces. Kids don't go out and play anymore. So
sunlight.
You know what I mean? So I mean, it could take a turn, and then who knows, they might have to maybe go the publisher route and get rid of their theme park and whatever else they have, just so they can stay in business.
Yeah.
What have
and
we
shout
learned?
out to Ice Cream Gaming. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP, Ice Cream Gaming. She says Nintendo is better off, in my opinion. Nintendo is better off on my own, in my opinion, than to be with Microsoft. Yeah. I think most of us agree with that statement. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be easy for another person to come into this market. Like, everybody wants a piece of the gaming market, and the big money in the gaming market is in storefronts. Nintendo has a storefront, PlayStation has a storefront, Xbox has a storefront. And the reason storefronts are the gem of it, to have a storefront, you got to have a platform, right? Steam is the number one PC storefront, and Epic has given away millions of dollars in free games trying to break into that PC storefront. Xbox has spent millions of dollars. Microsoft has spent millions of dollars trying to get people to use the Windows Store. So I mean, storefronts are where the money is at, and Xbox, neither Nintendo nor Xbox nor PlayStation want to give that storefront up, because not only do you make the money off your games as if you were just a publisher, but you make the money off of everybody else's game that gets put it on your device.
But what have we learned in all of this? IPs are the biggest thing, right? Why do you buy a Switch? Mario, Zelda, Kirby, what's the other one? Pikmin. So Mario Kart,
Pokemon.
Pokemon,
the biggest IP.
Right, Pokemon, right? All of these things are the reason why you buy Nintendo, right? Same thing. What was it for the longest time? Halo, Forza, Gears. For the
Gears, yep.
longest time for Xbox, right? And for the longest time on PlayStation was what? Uncharted, Gears, God of War, games like that. It was just like, oh, okay, these first-person narrative games are what Sony was known for. But that's the main thing. That's why you buy these consoles, just for this. But, well, wait a second. What did we talk about earlier in the show? We talked about the controller that lets you play anywhere.
Mhm.
What do you do when you're playing Steam games? You can play anywhere in theory, right?
Yep.
Any PC that you log into, you can log into it and play those games. Oh, well, now they've figured out a handheld, which is the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is what? A PC. It's a
Yep.
handheld PC. You can
It's a
play
little
that
Linux
anywhere.
PC.
So that's the next step. Laptops are PC. So you're talking about high-end rigs, low-end rigs. NVIDIA has also developed the cloud version, so you can still play those games. The NVIDIA GeForce.
And gaming
yes,
phones.
GeForce.
Don't forget
GeForce
the
Now.
gaming phones.
Yes. So again, where's this console? It doesn't matter if the console goes away, because you were just showing how many consoles were there, and it came down to Nintendo and PlayStation. But what has grown from that? Other publishers have been able to come up out of there and become bigger. Stadia tried. We talked about that, and they just failed because they failed themselves. They didn't do as well as they could have, as well as they should have, because they were even talking about, if I was having a hard time as a streamer, I can allow one of my audience members to jump in and play this level, and then I can come back and take over. Or I can say, hey, look, we're playing as a group, and I don't have to have a difficulty time playing. I can just say, hey, we're going to get into this next level. I'm going to give you the option, one of my people in the chat, to see and play the game for me while I'm here, and we'll play the game together. And then I can bounce them out and bring the next person in. They talked about all of this. This is all stuff that does not have to deal with consoles. This is stuff that's dealing with the cloud. This is less consoles. So we get stuck in these console manufacturers and people buying this and people buying that we forget that there's so much going on behind the scenes. So Xbox does not necessarily have to buy Nintendo, but like I said before, if they can get Game Pass on Nintendo, oh wait, because we already know the Nintendo online services suck. They are nowhere near as good as they should be. They've gotten better, but they're nowhere near as good as they should be. What if Xbox has a good collaboration with them where they can bring Nintendo games into Game Pass, right? This wouldn't be the first time. Cell phone games, let's see, what was it? The Mario Run? Mario's had different, has a game on the console. Sega's put a lot of their older Genesis games on the console. What am I talking about? Console. On the phone, right? So you got all this. Mario and Zelda have also been on other consoles, the 3DO. And I know some people don't know that. Yeah. So there are consoles out there that were not even associated with Nintendo, and Nintendo allowed a horrible rendition of their IPs, but still, nonetheless, they did. They still can have control. This still can also have good effects in the end. So whether or not they're buying them, I don't see them buying them, but I again, it's an option to be there. What do you think happened? As soon as Sega went out, eventually Microsoft came in with Xbox, and they've had a good relationship. Sega helped the Xbox, even though it's PC from the ground up. Those are PC parts on the OG Xbox, but the board was very similar to Sega's arcade boards. That's why I always say that this is the next Dreamcast 5. Because where Dreamcast would have stopped, this is where this would have been a continuation. It's within the family line. Granted, it's not. It's more of a joke than anything, but still, they do have a lot of relationships, and this is what you want to see. But we're leaning towards going away from these console manufacturers. They're still going to be branded within their own ecosystem. So there still needs to be competition. Stadia was a direct competition. We also have Luna that's trying to be competition, and Luna has one of the biggest baselines of gamers out there.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Amazon has reach.
Amazon.
They
If
could
you
very well
have
be.
Amazon Prime, you are already indoctrinated into Luna. That is part of your access. Those Twitch games. Oh, that's right, Twitch. That's also Amazon. Think about that. So when it comes to all of this, I think we're too busy looking at the small picture versus the bigger picture where everything's going to go. And again, it is what it is. They are looking to grow themselves. We are not advocating to buy them all out and only have one option, because that is the worst thing we can get. We want options. We want competition. Competition is what got us Game Pass. That's what got us the Series X, because they found out that they weren't the most powerful console like they thought they were, and it bit them.
Yep. Without competition, there's no innovation.
Right.
And then they just, nickel and dime you like through the roof because there's no one competing with them to keep the price down.
Yeah, and it's all profits and all laughing CEOs in the background. Ha 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 ha, villains. You know what I mean? In the meantime, you have
JD Rockefellers.
Right. In the meantime, you have competition. You got guys that are striving to find, guys as in people, guys and gals, people striving to find better ways to give us quality for our money, the biggest bang for our buck.
Right. Yeah, like competition is great, and I don't think anybody's going to say that, but acquisitions, the consolidation of the gaming market is inevitable. It's happened before, it's happening again, and it's going to happen again after this some other time.
Everything in life changes.
But do I want to see a collaboration between Nintendo and Xbox? Yeah, I mean, Phil Spencer has long stated that he wants to put Game Pass everywhere. If if they got a collaboration deal with Nintendo to put Game Pass on the Switch or the Switch 2 or whatever, you bet your bottom dollar Phil and Satya will. But yeah, I think we've talked this topic to death, guys. What do you think?
I think we're good.
Yeah, and I didn't even put up a poll. All right, I think we've talked this whole leak to death with our longest show going almost 4 hours. Wow. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for bringing this up, Taylor. Before anyone asks, yes, that was my oven again. It's lunchtime now. I enjoy eating. Yes, exactly. It is time to eat again, guys.
I haven't eaten yet.
You haven't eaten yet? Oh, man, poor Terry. She's going to get hangry here soon, guys.
I always have breakfast after the show. So now I'm skipping breakfast and going right to lunch.
We call that brunch.
Oh, my. Guys, thank you so much to everybody who tuned in today. Drippool, will you be joining us next week, or are you going to be focused on your trail?
Unfortunately, I am done. So next week, this is my last one. Next week, I will not be here because we will be working on the trail. And there's no way I'm going to be working that late and then being able to get up in the morning. So I will attempt to be on time for the chat, at least. Better than Splendiferous.
Oh, so the chops. Splendiferous getting all the hate today, catching stray bullets.
So, no. But it's all in love. Love you guys. I will miss you guys. But again, I'm just a guest. I'm just a resident guest. I'm not here full time. And but yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys stopping by, even though we're not here or I'm not here. These two are phenomenal team to work with. So definitely give them their love, even though I won't be here. And I heard some little tweets from a little birdie, so you might want to keep an eye out, and maybe you'll find out too what those little secrets are. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But again, thank you all. See you guys. No, I am not leaving. I'm a resident guest. I am working on my trail. So yeah, Sunday mornings are going to be hard for me to even show up on time for. So yeah, I am not.
Best of luck on your trail. Hopefully your counter that you guys make is better than ever this year.
Thank you.
So yeah, guys, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. What a great show, guys. We probably will not have a show this long again for some time, as I don't think there will be another leak of this magnitude ever again. But yeah, Dreadpool is going to be is a resident guest. He is free to come and go as he pleases. So whenever he wants to come back, he's of course welcome to come back. But we're going to get out of here. And of course, we wouldn't be able to do this show, guys, without you guys. The chat. That's why you guys, the chat, will always be the MVP to any of the shows here in the Iconic Video Games channel. We'll catch you guys next week. I'm Axel1324.
I'm Cool Cat Terry.
And I'm not leaving Dreadpool.
We'll see you guys next